NIKKE Chapter 22 through 24. Before we really get started, how have you guys been since we're live? We'll go ahead and do a little, what's it called? The thing is called, Zatsudan. Do a little Zatsudan. Let me go ahead, Control C this. Boom. And then put it over here. Control V this. Boom. There's a chat. Alright. The little YouTube chat. Let's go. Boom. YouTube chat. There it is. Cool. Alright. Pyrex is absolutely a W. I hope I'm saying the name right. Pyrex? Pyrex. Definitely. They left an amazing comment in my last NIKKE reaction, so shout out to them. I appreciate them for doing that. It's really cool. Yeah, that's right. Alright, appreciate it, bro. Yeah. It's good to be back. Bro, I went camping for the first time in... It's been like 6 years since I've been camping. Something like 6 years. It's been around 6 years since I went camping. And bro, it was awesome. Absolutely awesome. I'm gonna have a documentary coming soon. Just need to get it. I got this. Check this out. Check this out. Boom. Check this out, bro. We got a new camera, bro. We got a new camera. This is gonna be for the vlogs. We're gonna be vlogging, bro. We're gonna be going around the world, traveling. You know what's sick about it? It's like, watch this, bro. This is so sick. Right? It comes out, but then watch this, bro. Boom. And then it flips around. It flips around when you have the camera. So when you're vlogging, you can see yourself on the camera. Like, yo, we're live on YouTube. Shout out to, oh, that's a good idea. Let me do that. Two, one. Okay, we are live. This is the first video of our amazing vlog series. We're watching NIKKE. Shout out to 60 in the chat. Shout out to him, he's awesome. But yeah, we're gonna go travel the world. We're gonna go live. We're gonna experience life, checking out other people and seeing how they do it. Because everybody lives life differently. So I thought it'd be cool that we just travel the world and just find random people. Cool. Boom. All right. Cool. That was the first video. It's so sick, right? Oh, that is so sick. Sure looks good. Appreciate it, bro. I'm gonna keep it when I travel. So I got this, bro. I've been donating so many clothes, like, cause I've been here for 4 years, bro. I have a whole suitcase just full of clothes I'm donating, bro. It's crazy. It's so crazy. And it's like, it feels strange getting rid of it too. It's like, damn, but I haven't worn this in a long time, so I don't need it. And I just give it away. And it's like, damn, it's kind of powerful, bro. I don't know, man. Giving away stuff is pretty powerful. But let's go ahead and check this out. All right. We'll go ahead and record in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we're live on YouTube. And we're going to be checking out NIKKE Chapter 22 through 24. So we're live right now. So you could come hang out at the live, but it's a video. So you kind of missed it. I'll show up next time. But yeah, let's go ahead and check this out, man. Shout out to Pyrex for leaving that amazing comment, bro. Like, honestly, that comment made me was like, all right, bro, let's go ahead and check these NIKKE videos out. And they joined the Discord and they dropped the video in the Discord requests. So if you guys still want some videos, drop them in the Discord request section, video request section. Thank you. Let's go ahead and check this out.
For their continued support.
NIKKE
Following
22.
Chapter 21's cutscene, we are met with the shocked expressions of the commander and counters. Unsurprisingly, the weight of the situation has fully set on their shoulders. The Ark,
For real.
humanity's safe haven, had been compromised, and Raptures had already laid waste to various areas throughout the city. Though there's a lot of information to take in, Rappy tries to establish a stable connection to the Ark's communication center. Despite her best efforts, she's met with dead air. Seeing this result, the commander assumes the comms must be blocked, which Rappy affirms, stating that in a worst-case scenario, all communications in the Ark are down. Thinking on their feet, Anise suggests for the group to move to one of the Big Three's company's headquarters, stating that it would be safer there than where they are now. Currently, Elijah's headquarters seem to be the closest to where the group is located, and she wastes no time plotting a route for the group to follow. The commander recalls what Enoch had told him all the way back in Chapter 14. Enoch had stated that the Ark, since its creation, had never been invaded by Raptures. Though it was widely believed that the Raptures were unaware of the Ark's location, the grim truth is the fact that Raptures are widely aware of where it is. Instead of fortifying humanity's final safe haven, humanity instead struck a deal with the Raptures out of cowardice, ensuring the safety of humanity. The agreement between Chatterbox and Enoch was simple. So long as Enoch provided Chatterbox with a steady supply of NIKKEs, he wouldn't touch the Ark. Despite this, Chatterbox had been defeated, so the commander is unsure of where this deal stands now. This flashback aids the commander to come to one clear conclusion. The group needs to meet with Enoch. When the counters question the commander's reasoning, he simply states that Enoch is the AI that runs the entire Ark. If anyone would know the timeline of events that had occurred,
we got AI.
Seeing the commander's plan is logical, waste no time planning a route to Enoch's chamber. Even with an expedient route, the counters will still have to fight through hordes of Raptures to get to Enoch. There's another factor at play here: the thousands of citizens who reside in the Ark. None of them know of the real danger that the Raptors present.
Exactly,
Therefore,
60.
The commander opts to take a route cutting through downtown. By taking this route, the commander can also help anyone who may need assistance. It's no secret that a vast majority of the Ark's citizens stand little to no chance against the Raptures, so any help they can get would be exponential in this situation.
Bro, this cuts
to Enoch's chamber after
hold on, bro. I remember this cutscene. This thing was so fire, bro. NIKKE, absolutely amazing game, just based off the cinematics alone. Check it out.
Exponential in this situation. While en route to Enoch's chamber, after dispatching various small groups of Raptures, counters find themselves bumping into some familiar faces. Miranda and Polly, both members of the Ark's police force, ACPU, are shocked and relieved.
The Lolly Police Force, let's go.
Understandably so, Miranda is quite shaken up by everything that had transpired up until this point, but Polly is there to give her a smack up.
I don't blame her.
To get her focused on the current situation again. Rappy questions Polly about the sequences of events leading to the Ark being invaded, and Polly's answer is simple. A massive hole appeared in the Dome of Eternity, and Raptures began pouring in. The Dome of Eternity is briefly mentioned in NIKKE's main campaign. However, it's mentioned more in Bond stories and event missions. The Dome of Eternity.
We still haven't checked out Bond stories. We might, but y'all gotta let me know in the comments below.
Eternity is a collection of screens which cover the inner dome of the Ark. It is also a method in which the central government emulates a day and night cycle too. The sky, the moon, and stars, all of these are artificial, a mirage to keep humanity comfortable living imprisoned in paradise. Though it's clear the Dome of Eternity is compromised, it is unclear how at the moment. Both Polly and Miranda have been fighting Rapture since then, but thankfully, according to Polly, they hadn't seen any human casualties. Gunfire can be heard in the distance.
Oh man!
One thing to the group: all able NIKKEs are defending the Ark with everything they have, ensuring a path for humanity's survival. Being at the epicenter of the initial invasion, Polly and Miranda have been trying to find a way to assess a proper damage report. After hearing of the Counter's plan to pay Enoch a visit, ACPU decides to tag along as well. Although Anise thinks that ACPU would be fine on their own, Rappy quickly dismantles that statement. The Counters are well seasoned with fighting Lord-class Raptures and above. However, very few in the Ark had even encountered soldier classes. Strength in numbers.
Hey, you have a good night, 60. Appreciate you coming to the stream. Hey, W60 in the comments. Let's go.
Would prove beneficial here, and thus, the group continues to Enoch's chamber. Despite the gap in skill between the two groups, Polly and Miranda proved to have vast knowledge on Rapture combat. The group quickly engages in an encounter with the Raptures. Although the battle is won, the group faces a new problem. Counter's original route had been blocked. Thinking on their feet, Miranda volunteers to show the group an alternative route. Being a member of the traffic police, Miranda knows these routes like the back of her hand. Funny,
She looks
considering
so
the
happy,
Ark has
man.
few cards to begin with, that luxury being reserved for only the wealthiest of sovereigns. Although Anise was skeptical of Miranda's knowledge of alternative routes, the team is making great progress in reaching Enoch's chamber. At this pace, on foot, they'll be there in 2 hours. This scenario alone really helps to scale just how large the Ark
2 hours
is. On average, walking for 2 hours nonstop equates to roughly 6 miles of travel.
Yeah.
Meaning the Ark is much larger than we originally thought.
No, for real. Like these little background things, this does not help.
Meaning the Ark is much larger than we originally.
Like, I don't know why. I just look at this, I'm like, oh yeah, it's a city. But this thing might be like a legitimate city. Like, damn.
Well, they continue.
That's crazy.
Anise raises a good point. They've seen no humans while en route. Anise expected more carnage, but Rappy states this could have been simply due to an evacuation. Before they can come to a conclusion, Enoch suddenly chimes in, re-establishing communications between herself and Counters. Evidently, Enoch can create hotspots, direct lines of connections to select groups in situations of emergency like this one. Although she can communicate with Counters, the main comms are still down overall. The commander wastes no time in questioning Enoch on the Ark's current situation. However, Enoch is still currently compiling information. Even when the commander asks directly if this has to do with Chatterbox's agreement, Enoch gives him a firm no. This is rather concerning. If this wasn't caused by the severance of the agreement Enoch had with Chatterbox, then what exactly was happening? Enoch also informs the group that there are no human casualties in the Ark. She continues, stating that 10 minutes prior to the invasion, an evacuation order was issued to all humans, advising them to seek safety in the designated emergency shelters. Looking back on it, this is actually very suspicious. How did they be able to make this order before the first Raptures descended into the Ark?
Exactly.
This is a question we'll leave on the back burner as we continue on this series. Enoch continues, due to a celebration event for Matisse, a majority of the human populace had gathered in one location. I just want to put this into perspective. The Ark is tens of hundreds of miles wide, yet the entire population could gather in one place. This
in such short time.
Fairly streamlined once the order was given. Polly questions the reasoning behind NIKKE's not being notified, and Enoch's reply is that NIKKE's were not informed because it is their duty to fight. Though a bit downcast, Polly understands Enoch's line of thinking.
That's deep.
Questioning Enoch once again, the commander asks for a timeline of events, or at the very least, information Enoch has leading up to the initial invasion of the Ark. After taking a brief moment to allocate all appropriate information, Enoch states that she can show the group the events leading up to the initial invasion. However, she will do so on one condition. Of course, the group wastes no time in agreeing, only to be met with a cryptic
what was the condition?
AI that runs the entire Ark. After she shows the group the recording, there is something important that only the commander can do. As a playback commences, the group is greeted by the sight of Blanc, Noir, and Rosanna having a serious conversation. This playback took place 3 days ago. And it's clear that there's some conflict going on between the two groups.
Absolute W.
Blanc is refusing to take Rosanna up on an offer she'd extended to the 777 squad. Rosanna wanted her gang Hedonia to stay in Coin Rush, being the casino Blanc and Noir work
Casino? Oh, hold on, man.
Way of offering
the gotcha.
777. Blanc's personality is very straightforward and direct, and thus she snaps back at Rosanna. Blanc states that if Hedonia ever set foot into Coin Rush, due to their less than ideal reputation, the entire casino is bound to go down the drain.
Oh man,
Rosanna's personality, much like Blanc's, is very direct,
we can't
but
lose
in
the
this
money.
case, also very abrasive. She smugly tells Blanc that she can teach her a thing or two about the way the world works. Despite her Hedonia goons being present in Coin Rush,
I'm interested.
Rosanna reassures that they'll be dressed as normal patrons, ready to spring into action at any given moment. Blanc once more doesn't back down. Coin Rush, to Blanc, is the safest adult playground in the entire arc.
Oh
Seeing
man,
how stubborn Blanc is to Rosanna's offer, she decides to turn up the heat. She blasts Blanc with all the rumors that have been floating around regarding Coin Rush. The beggars in the casino, the slot machines not paying out,
the
the
gamble.
funds requested for subpar cocktails.
Oh
In
man,
these statements, Noir, Blanc's twin sister, urges her to at least hear Rosanna's conditions. 777 is in a rough time due to half of their squad being in training. Due to this training and the squad being fragmented, Noir and Blanc have had a lot to manage on their own. To Noir, if these rough times continue, Coin Rush will be all but lost.
Oh,
Blanc
man.
agrees that she doesn't want to see the casino go under, and thus she reluctantly agrees to hear Rosanna out.
Golden Coin Rush. How fun was this event? Let me know in the comments below.
She wants to know what Rosanna
1
wants
through
out
10.
of all of this, and Rosanna makes it sound pretty straightforward. Protection of Coin Rush in exchange for a couple bucks for members of Hedonia to toss at the slots. In addition, members of Hedonia will address and overcome any conflict in the house. Even with Rosanna's response, Blanc, understandably so, is still reluctant to believe the grounds of her offer.
Bro, this art is so amazing.
Flippantly, Blanc remarks how these in-house resolves will go, most likely with a volley of machine gun bullets. Rosanna chuckles
Oh,
at Blanc's
man.
retort, stating that such excessive uses of violence won't be necessary for this job.
I hope not.
Rosanna states that she'll make sure her gang's involvement in the casino won't cause a commotion, but only scare the intended target if an issue arises. Even with this offer, Blanc is still hesitant, asking the price for such a gracious line of protection. Of course, there is a catch.
Yep.
Rosanna requesting for 60% of the profits generated from Coin Rush,
Damn, 60%? Yeah,
extending her hand to seal the agreement.
that's over half.
The Bunny twins both deny the deal instantly.
I bet.
Rosanna's price is beyond absurd.
Of
Turning
course.
to leave, Rosanna states that given enough time, the Bunny twins will eventually regret not taking her offer.
Oh, she knows something that they don't. Oh, so maybe 60% was a good deal. Damn.
We then flash forward to a day before the invasion of the Ark. Rosanna is back at Coin Rush after a slew of unfortunate events fell on the establishment. She changes the tune of her offer, requesting 40% of the casino's profits. Before Rosanna can leave
That sound like a
into her
that sound like a good deal.
Sakura, Rosanna's squad mate, emerges from
Yeah. Damn. Wait, sound alike sapling. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for the 5. Interrupt this message brought to you by Pineapple Pizza is great. I agree. Thank you, Sonalight Sapling. I appreciate it. That was so nice of you.
Sakura is the leader of Semikai, another underground
I hope you're doing well.
organization that operates in the Outer Rim. Sakura cuts straight to the point, stating that the hooligans who have been robbing and terrorizing Coin Rush were Rosanna's men, members of Hedonia. Not giving Rosanna any time to retort, Sakura furthers her statement by declaring that Semikai will be overseeing the protection of Coin Rush from here on out. Blanc intervenes, stating that the deal with Sakura hadn't been sealed yet either. Though Rosanna is impressed by the twins' ability to fight against Sakura, her anger gets the better of her, slamming her fist against the table. Rosanna tells Sakura
It's getting violent.
and Sakura's retort
No
is
need to get violent.
savage in response.
Oh, brother.
Listen up, madam. Who you calling madam, bitch?
Oh!
Yeah, it seems that these two members of
Damn!
Underworld Queen are at each other's throats.
This ain't good.
As Rosanna and Sakura continue to argue, Sakura offers Blanc and Noir protection of their establishment for free. Rosanna jumps in to match Sakura's offer.
This is not good.
A slew of back and forth ensues while both Sakura and Rosanna trying to one-up one another to get the deal sealed. Eventually, Rosanna offers a 15% split with Sakura to guard the place. Sakura, backed Blanc into a corner, reminding her of Seimekai's assistance to them in the past, agrees, pressuring the girls for an answer. Noir, nervous as ever, urges Blanc to make a choice, but before she can, another voice rings out.
Okay.
Hey! What the hell is going on here?
Hello?
Oh boy. This is gonna be a problem.
Oh, brother.
The final member of Underworld Queen, Moran, comes into the fray, angrily questioning her two squad mates on why they're pressuring the bunny twins. Funnily enough, both Sakura and Rosanna seem irritated with Moran's entrance, knowing very well it'll
Triple
be
threat.
nothing but trouble.
I love
The
this.
counters in ACPU witnessing this playback are stunned of the two groups clashing. Underworld Queen isn't exactly hurting for cash, so the severity of this job isn't as urgent as Rosanna had let on. That and Coin Rush is the biggest moneymaker in the arc, is practically all of Mustang's hopes and dreams materialize in a massive adult playground. Confused
Makes
on how
sense.
777 and
Wait, hold
Underworld
on.
conflict relates to the arc's invasion.
Is this guy a reference to Final Fantasy? Because wasn't he in Final Fantasy 7?
Brown. Confused on how 777 and Underworld Queen's conflict relates to the arc's invasion,
Interesting.
Enoch urges the group to continue watching the playback feed. Moran is now standing before Sakura and Rosanna, angered of her teammates for attempting to extort Coin Rush. Her issue is them strong-arming Blanc and Noir into protection for monetary gain. Sakura's retort is that Moran's gang, the Peony Association, also offers protection for profit. Moran's response is a very funny one when you think about it. She gets paid to defend in the form of goods, in this case being food. Snow White would definitely be proud. Moran and
W.
Sakura's
Snow White.
ideologies clash here, one wanting monetary gain, while the other sees that as lowly and only for thugs. Moran tells her squad mates to stop what they're doing, stating that this wasn't the orders Mustang had given them. This
Follow
finally
orders.
causes
Be
Rosanna to
careful.
snap, repeatedly telling Moran to follow her. When she declines, Sakura and Rosanna seem at their wits' end. It
Okay.
would seem that they had alternative missions at Coin Rush here.
Hmm.
Moran was about to blow their cover sky high. Sakura urges for Moran to shut up and follow them to talk somewhere privately. But before they can get through to Moran,
No time to
an
talk.
explosion rushes through Coin Rush, tendrils of smoke filling the air. Sakura and Rosanna aren't too pleased with the
It's a trap!
guess, and Moran is just as lost in this situation. Sakura asks Blanc to point her to the most expensive item in Coin Rush. Blanc states that a jewel necklace in the center display is what they'd be after. Swiftly getting to work, Sakura drops to one knee and readies her gun, saying that she's ready to deal with these uninvited guests.
Let's go.
Sakura takes
Action
the gun
time.
with suppression bullets, but misses.
Bang.
And as the smoke clears, the display case is smashed to pieces, and the necklace is gone. Rosanna is clearly irritated with this being a one-man job, while Sakura's body begins to go numb. The smoke wasn't just any ordinary smoke, but instead, smoke infused with alpha particles. Whoever had just robbed Coin Rush was one step ahead of Underworld Queen, accounting for their presence and the presence of other Nikkes.
One step
Sakura and
ahead.
Rosanna are quick to make their next move. However, Moran is still lost as to what's happening. The two decide to fill Moran in on the real mission. Underworld Queen have received intel that Heavenly Ascension, one of the most notorious terrorist groups in the arc, were planning an attack on Coin Rush.
Uh-oh.
Moran, confused by this, asks
Terrorism.
why the duo didn't just state those facts to 777. Once more, their response is simple. It would have been reported to the central government, resulting in a mass eradication of the Outer Rim without a second thought. Sakura and Rosanna had also withheld information from Moran due to her tendency to do things for free, and the low number of members the Peony Association has. Hedonia and Seimeikai outnumber the Peony Association 30-1 in members, so even if Moran did want to help, she lacked the manpower to do so. Following this recollection, we are then met with 3 sections from the Underworld Queen's point of
Bro, this art is so amazing.
view. Each member
I gotta hit the like button. Just like you gotta hit the like button on this video. Appreciate it.
tasked with a different objective. 3 hours before the current events, Rosanna is in the Outer Rim. Her task is to find information regarding EH, the leader of Heavenly Ascension. Rosanna finds out that EH had met with a high-ranking central government official in secret. Rosanna had successfully captured a Heavenly Ascension executive, and was in the process of getting information out of them.
Uh-oh.
It seems quite odd. EH, the leader of Heavenly Ascension, meeting with the central government. The exec tells Rosanna that it was to make a deal, but is unsure of the exact details on it. He only knows the deal didn't go well, and he was instructed after that to allocate funds for Heavenly Ascension.
Yup.
To Rosanna, this makes no sense. EH meeting with the senior officers for a handout. The timeline of events were clearly not adding up. Heavenly Ascension's intel is garbage at best, and she knows she won't get any useful information out of the exec. She shows him a text sent to herself and Sakura, and upon seeing it, the exec's reaction alone gives Rosanna all she needs to know. Someone had planted the idea in Underworld Queen's heads that Coin Rush would be targeted. In addition, they'd also succeeded in planting the same thought in the members of Heavenly Ascension as well. Reading the text and seeing the heart emoji at the end of it, she knows exactly who she needs to seek out next. The sly snake of Exotic.
Oh,
Viper.
man.
Amidst all the chaos
Yeah, damn.
earlier, one thing is clear. Exotic
not
wants
her.
to display infighting between the members of the Outer Rim. For exactly what reason, Rosanna is still unaware. Realizing her rash actions with the exec, she orders her men to take him to the hospital to recover as she ponders the situation. What exactly was Exotic planning, using Underworld Queen as scapegoats for this convoluted scheme? As Rosanna continues to dig deeper, we are met with the next member, Sakura. 3 hours prior to the current events, Sakura is in Seimekai's headquarters. She is rendezvousing with Dala from Talentum. For those of you who haven't played through Dala's Bond story, she's heavily involved with the dark net and is very familiar on how to dig into transactions and navigate through it. Dala informs Sakura of a large number of previously unregistered firearms and ammunition being sold. The total is roughly 200 rifles and a vast quantity of ammo. Though the quantity of guns to Sakura seems a bit peculiar, Dala informs her of something else. The guns being sold were meant for Nikkes to use. This shocks Sakura, who repeats what Dala just relayed to her. Dala begins to explain the specifics about the rifles. They do have a lighter recoil, so in theory humans could use them. But despite this, the weapons are not the most comfortable to fire. Sakura points out that these weapons don't fit the bill for a terrorist attack, and Dala agrees. To Sakura, their next course of action would be tracking down who made the purchases. Dala explains that due to the vastness of the darknet, that would be next to impossible. In addition to guns, Dala also informs Sakura of a massive excavation bomb that was sold on the darknet too. The purchase was made for guns and ammunition being sold. The bomb is a heavy-duty explosive, originally designed for excavation, and had been obsolete since the Ark's creation. The bomb isn't effective on Raptures either, the concentration of the blast being everything underneath the bomb itself. Due to the design and usage of the bomb, Sakura and Dala can't wrap their heads around what the intended use for it would be. Anything can be bought on the darknet if the individual has enough money, and the sellers don't bat an eye at who their clients are either. A bit off-put, Sakura asks Dala how she has such vast knowledge of the dark net, and her response is that it's just a hobby of hers, but she wouldn't take the risk traversing the dark net if she didn't have to. Smugly, Dala also states that the two are not on the same side, advising Sakura not to forget that either. Impressed with Dala's willingness to stand her ground, Sakura giggles, apologizing for doubting her. With the information passed smoothly between the two, Sakura thanks Dala for her time. Dala also thanks Sakura since it's incredibly beneficial for her Seimekai to be indebted to her. Sakura acknowledges this debt, saying that she won't forget what Dala had done for them, and that she is always welcome to Seimekai's help in any way in the future. As Dala leaves, just like Rosanna, Sakura begins to have her own doubts. None of these items that were purchased are suitable for a terrorist attack. The bomb, their primary weapon, can't even be used offensively. Even the usage of Nikkes is obsolete, as it can't even lay a finger on humans. Sakura continues to ponder these facts as the scene transitions once more. Our final transition is 2 hours prior to current events. We are met with Moran, who is in the back alleys of the Ark. Moran is meeting up with one of her men, Jin. Jin is giving Moran information he'd gathered from a childhood friend, one who is also affiliated with Heavenly Ascension. The veracity of Jin's information is sketchy at best, but she's informed that the Darknet weapons are being sent to the Ark. Just like Rosanna, Moran is also informed of the meeting between EH and the central government falling through. Once more, Moran thinks the plan is crazy that Heavenly Ascension is devising. Jin offers a basic solution to Moran's question. They'll smuggle items into the Ark using the elevator. There are thousands of elevators to the surface from the Ark,
Okay.
some of these being inactive, and others are not well guarded. Jin explains that Heavenly Ascension will utilize one of these elevators to go down directly into the Ark. Although they cannot defeat Raptures in battle, Jin surmises that Heavenly Ascension can avoid detection from Raptures if nothing else. Jin sends Moran the location of the elevator EH will use to enact this plan.
Okay.
Moran tells Jin to send the location to Sakura and Rosanna as well. With this brief interaction, all the players are in place to stop the plot of Heavenly Ascension. A mere hour before the current events in the Ark, we are introduced to EH, the leader of Heavenly Ascension. Elevator
Whoa. Hold on a second. Hold on. Whoa. I think I just found my waifu. Holy moly. Oh, she's a beast.
Hub J910.
Holy
She's ready to
schmoly.
go, but before she can enact her plan, Moran's voice rings out. Calling her by her whole name, Elijah Harper, Moran catches EH off guard. Also, yes, her name Elijah has caused speculation to fly amidst the player base. This character could possibly be a previous CEO or a researcher for Elijah.
That's pretty big.
EH's response to Moran is that her legal name, Elijah Harper, is one she left behind a long time ago. Moran advises EH to drop the bags that she's carrying. EH declines, saying that this protection is for her men, Heavenly Ascension. Moran's rebuttal is that those weapons will only get her killed. Although Moran's approach is a bit lax, Rosanna isn't too patient with EH. She states point blank how utterly stupid this entire plan is. Walking around with an arsenal of weaponry, Sakura reinforces Moran's comment. Question the bloodshed EH will cause will really get her anywhere.
Okay.
Every member of Underworld Queen
probably not.
With haste to intercept EH. With a full group present, the chances of stopping her are higher than ever. EH states this greeting is quite a rare one, seeing all of Underworld Queen gathered in one place. Rosanna attempts to talk some sense into EH. She asks what she's thinking with this plan, especially utilizing NIKKE grade weapons that she now has.
Yo, Snow White.
Heavenly Ascension, according to Rosanna, will be designated as a terrorist group armed to the teeth with advanced weaponry. This, of course, would spell disaster for everyone in the Outer Rim, affiliated or not. Sakura reinforces this claim, stating that the central government will turn the entire Outer Rim into nothing but rubble. EH falls silent after the verbal assault from Underworld Queen.
This is terrible. We have to fix this.
The response is one that truly paints just how depressing this world is. EH discloses the events.
Yo, shout out Resto Chesto. Yo, what up, bro? What up? Thank you so much for the 20. Dono, me and Resto, we got something coming soon. I appreciate that, bro. All right, we gotta get back to the show.
Regarding her meeting with the central government, she had met with one of the deputy chiefs, or rather, they'd accepted a request EH had sent out to meet with them. The meeting
Have you played NIKKE?
Threatened the Ark, but
this
rather
game is crazy.
for EH to request protection. EH was aware that Raptures were spitting distance from the Ark, and this fact alone struck.
Damn! Damn!
We're spitting distance from
bro, they just be blowing up cities.
And this fact
what
alone
is?
struck deep.
Oh my god! Yo, yo, Izzy Resto says support. Bro, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, bro. Izzy, I appreciate that. Thank you for the 10. Man, you guys are awesome. I appreciate that. You played this game a little? For reasons. I wonder what type of reasons, bro.
Fear within her. This didn't help when she had also learned of Matisse's corruption
Oh,
in
man.
previous chapters. All of these facts struck fear in EH because she is all too aware of where the Outer Rim stands in the Ark's hierarchy. The Outer Rim is the literal garbage disposal of the Ark, and if Raptures ever were to invade, they'd be nothing but an afterthought to them. She begged the deputy chief for NIKKEs to be stationed in the Outer Rim to ensure that its citizens had some form of protection. The deputy chief she met with, as EH recalls, did nothing but sip his tea as he
Bro, this
poured.
character is crazy, bro. Like, the armor is beast. You got the sports bra. Bro, it's crazy. Bro, this character is sick.
Her plight.
This
Her
character
entire
is sick.
plan fell on arrogantly deaf ears. Even when EH explained that everyone in the Outer Rim wanted to live, he did nothing but scoff. Even if the citizens of the Outer Rim were outlaws, they were still humans.
You gonna be in
Something
chat?
the
I
central
appreciate it,
government had
Resto.
completely forgotten. This interaction alone reminded EH of the one true enemy in the arc,
You're awesome, bro.
and the reason why humanity continued to cower underground. The information that EH reveals next would have been one that changed the entire course of our events in the story. EH told the Deputy Chief the following: if these conditions are met and Nikkes are placed to guard the Outer Rim, she will dismantle Heavenly Ascension. Yes, you heard that right. The leader of the most notorious outlaw group in the Ark just offered to disband and fade away, all for the ensured protection of her people. So what do you think this Deputy Chief's response?
Pyrex, I appreciate you. I appreciate you stopping by, bro. We shouted you out earlier, but we'll do it again. Shout out to Pyrex, one of the realest to ever do it. They're the ones who made this amazing series. It's amazing. It's one of the greatest things ever. Period. So yeah, much love. I appreciate you guys stopping by and supporting the stream. This is literally like the first YouTube stream I've done in months. Well, I guess in years now. But yeah, I appreciate y'all. You guys are awesome. Man, what a time to be alive. What a time to be alive.
Was.
You know what he said to me?
Enough!
What do you
None
say?
of you are humans.
None. Oh. Oh man.
Why would we dedicate our resources to something that's not human?
Oh man.
It's best we leave the barriers open. We'll still need somewhere to dispose of our garbage.
Damn.
Then
Humans are
He
messed
tried
up.
to kill me, but I escaped.
Hearing these disgusting comments about the Outer Rim, Moran demands to know who said those things to EH, who had disregarded thousands of lives, declaring all of the Outer Rim as subhuman. EH then asks if Moran sees them as human, and of course Moran's response is simple: every member in the Outer Rim are human, living, breathing humans. Since the central government had turned their back on the Outer Rim, EH decided to secure their protection with the weapons that she picked up from the dark net. If the guns were to be used for defense, then what about the bomb? EH tells Moran that they'll secure an elevator. They had already located one, but the shaft was completely blocked.
Alright, so
The
same
bomb was
idea.
to be
Use
used
the
to
elevator.
break through the rubble. EH's resolve is final, that they're abandoned members of society, and will go to this great length to ensure people's safety.
Hey, cheers
Even
to
with
y'all.
Moran pleading against it,
Appreciate y'all.
telling her that they can offer protection, EH cannot bring herself to believe her. One important thing to note here is despite their differences, Underworld Queen and EH are friends underneath it all. Rosanna interjects,
So
saying
they
that she
say.
doesn't want to bear witness to her own friend's suicide.
Hmm.
Underworld Queen is just following orders, but despite this, Sakura tells EH to drop the weapons, to turn around and pretend none of this even happened, and to take the elevator back to the Outer Rim. Sakura ensures EH that they will handle everything else, advising EH to choose life over this suicide mission. EH, clearly in conflict with herself, asks her friends if they'll ever be seen as human. Will the members of the Outer Rim
That's
ever
tough.
be regarded
That's
as
tough,
more than the
bro,
Earth's
like-
rejected trash heap?
As much as I would love to say the Nikkes are like superhuman like, they have so many cool like human characteristics. It like they're not human. So it's like, even though I personally, if I was in Nikke, I'd be like, hey man, hey, let them do their thing. They're human like enough. But for other people, it's like, nah, they're not human. Throw them away, whatever, trash can. It's crazy, but that's how it is.
Will they ever be able to escape this miserable place filled with death and destruction? Moran tells EH that it will happen one day, promising that they'll see to it. EH, after all this back and forth, seems to finally begin to trust her friends. But before she can align
The
her
power of
path with
friendship.
Underworld Queen, she falls to the ground, blood seeping from a newly formed bullet wound.
Oh man.
Falling to the ground, Moron quickly tends to EH as an unfamiliar voice rings out to the group. Dobon, another deputy chief, had come with a small army of mass-produced Nikkes. He's berating them for missing a clear headshot at EH. It's clear that none of Underworld Queen nor EH are pleased to see him.
This ain't
Sakura
good.
stating that he must have kissed a lot of asses to utilize Nikkes. Dobon attempts to cover his
Probably.
ass, saying he's working with Underworld Queen.
Oh,
Despite
brother.
his large appearance, this man is a glorified coward, using these false
Bro's
claims to
jacked.
cover his own rear. The conversation is being recorded, and he's doing everything he can to maintain his image. Rosanna scoffs at the deputy chief. Even if
Good
he had
luck.
given them orders, they'd do anything else but abide by it. Dobon's reputation in the Ark is anything but clean. He hadn't been in command of any Nikkes in years. He asks why Underworld Queen is even there, questioning if they're assisting a known terrorist to escape. Pressing Dobon further, EH demands to know how he located them so quickly. His asshole response is that it was obvious.
His asshole
The central
response.
government uses this elevator to dump subhuman filth into the outer rim.
Oh, brother.
After all, as Dobon states, loathsome flies are naturally attracted to excrement. Questions if there's a
That's
traitor
crazy.
among them when she suddenly stops in her tracks. There was a traitor,
Of
a
course.
devious snake amidst them,
But who?
Viper. Dobon confirms that EH's thoughts were true, and EH is repulsed at the thought of being betrayed by Viper. Dobon
How
refuses
could
to
she?
disclose any further information and commands the Nikkes to fire upon EH and Underworld Queen. Before the mass-produced Nikkes have a chance to act, Sakura shoots the weapon, disarming all the mass-produced Nikkes. Sakura decides to remind Dobon of one little fact that he seemed to have missed. Dobon is in their domain, and no action can be committed unless given their
Domain
permission.
expansion.
Dobon is disgusted,
Infinite back
chalking
shots.
up Underworld Queen as aiding a known terrorist. They are Nikkes, and to Dobon, their whole objective is to defend mankind. Seeing the potential collateral, EH tells Underworld Queen to stand down, to not get involved in this mess. All traitors, Dobon states,
Oh, damn.
must be executed. Dobon tells the mass-produced Nikkes to contact Ingrid. He tells them to have her send Extrinsic to their location as soon as possible. They're dealing with some irregulars who have betrayed their benefactors. Surprisingly, instead of fearing for her life, EH seems relieved to hear the name Extrinsic, stating that they had finally finished it. This only solidifies the belief that EH was involved in Elysian
The
somehow
Nikkei music is so
previously.
good.
For those of you that don't know, Extrinsic was
Yo.
months before a Nikkei story.
What is this? Brother.
This being the squad consisting of Maiden and Guillotine, both high-functioning Nikkes produced by Elysian. Rosanna also seems raring to go, to meet these so-called Reapers in Extrinsic. She calls Dobon's bluff and tells him to make it snappy. EH musters the strength to stand and opens
Wow.
her coat, revealing fastened bombs to her body, and tells Dobon he shouldn't have come here personally. EH had made these explosives herself, fashioning it to be deadly for both her and Dobon, but not fatal to the Nikkes. Dobon continues to hurl insults at her, but she tells him to back off and that she's leaving. Disregarding Dobon's entire existence, as she should,
Who are you?
EH begins to step backwards
Who?
towards the elevator.
Dale who?
Yes, she plans on taking herself out to see her plan through. And as she gets into the elevator, Underworld Queen can do nothing but watch. The elevator, strangely enough, doesn't begin to ascend, and Dobon tells EH that he had disabled it long ago. EH has a simple response, that if she goes down, Dobon goes down with her. Like the chicken shit coward he is, Dobon cowers in fear.
And he's a
Before any
bitch.
of them
That's
can-
crazy.
The elevator door suddenly closes and begins to ascend to the surface. The group watches EH inch closer to the surface, as Dobon yells for the Nikkes to stop the elevator. The lock that had been placed
brother.
over the elevator had been compromised.
Deal
But
bond.
who was the
Dobon, whatever. his
Underworld
name
Queen and Dobon had been in
is. Dobon, yeah.
so who could have broken the chain? For those of you longtime Nikkei veterans, only one person comes to mind.
Yo,
Jackal.
bro.
Upon making it to the surface,
Nikkei is
EH seems
on
relieved.
another level
As
of
long as
freaky.
she has her
And I
weapon,
love it.
She can protect her precious home. EH feels she's doing the right thing and is content with ending things this way. After all the bullshit, all the deception, and all the lies that she'd endured, EH can finally take a moment to rest. However, this moment too is interrupted. Suddenly, the excavation bomb begins to emit a sound. On the display of the bomb is one single word: John D. For
Rockefeller.
those of you that have forgotten,
Oh man.
John D, or John Doe, was the
Oh.
alias of the leader of its
Oh brother.
Crow. As EH realizes,
Hey, know your real life history.
she is suddenly engulfed in a flash of light. After witnessing EH enveloped in the excavation bomb's explosion, the report from Enoch comes to a close. Enoch continues by saying the bomb had been detonated on the surface, creating a passageway directly to the Ark. One thing isn't sitting well with Denise, and that's the fact that Enoch, the super AI that runs the Ark, didn't put a stop to this invasion. From Enoch's
Super
perspective,
AI.
she didn't see all these events leading up to the current situation, which honestly is an understandable answer. Even as a highly advanced AI, Enoch
Highly
is
advanced
different.
AI.
She also
Highly advanced AI.
informs a group
Shout out Hilda AI.
of a high concentration of Rapture
Shout out
closing in on the Ark,
Digital Dolly.
approximately 300 meters from their current location.
Shout out Neurosama.
Enoch
Let's go.
states that she'll explain more once they reach her chamber. With all the past events recounted, we finally meet Enoch in her chamber. The commander asks Enoch to assess the situation, and she states that within 6 hours, everything will return to normal. There is little to no
Normal?
chance of casualties from this invasion.
Okay.
Due to the citizens of the Ark making their way to shelters, the Raptures mainly will
see.
be combating NIKKEs. Enoch also states that mighty tools have been dispatched to the hole in the Dome of Eternity
Oh!
and are making quick haste to repair it. In addition, Absolute and Matisse were sent to accompany them to prevent any further invasion from the Raptures. Keep in mind, this is humanity's, or rather, the Ark's, strongest combatants. Although Enoch stated that human casualties
about to
are
go
virtually
down.
zero, the same can be
Nikke
said for
casualties were
NIKKEs.
crazy. Yeah.
All able NIKKEs have been sent out to fight the Raptures.
Bro.
However, they are
That's messed
already
up.
sustaining heavy injuries. Do keep in mind that not every NIKKE
Oh,
in the Ark
damn.
is equipped to combat Raptures. For the most part,
Amelia Watson?
many NIKKEs in the Ark participate in
Newbie.
mundane tasks, and even fewer have seen a Rapture firsthand. Being an able NIKKE doesn't necessarily mean
Whoa.
being versed in combat, but rather a capable body the Ark can use to defend humanity. Of all available
Soldier.
NIKKEs sent out, 52 has sustained moderate injuries, while 114 has sustained minor ones. At the moment, there are no
No
casualties,
major. Okay.
but that
Sounds
could change
good.
at a moment's notice. Within 5 minutes, as Enoch
Good
continues,
job, girls.
the power will be restored and the
casualties.
comms back online. Needless to say, Electric Shock is also
Whoa.
putting in work to bring the Ark back online. The infrastructure of the Ark could be repaired in 34 days, and Enoch begins to explain how she was able to assess the situation so quickly. The Ark has various contingency plans if certain criteria are met, plans that are engraved in Enoch's programming. Once these parameters are met, there are appropriate countermeasures to deal with them. This event was one such scenario. However, Enoch states this is luckily not the worst case
Bro, this is
scenario
crazy.
for the Ark.
I can't.
Remembering Enoch's
No
previous
one
comment,
survived. Like, bro.
the worst case scenario for the Ark.
Every time I see stuff like this, I'm like, damn, bro, that's crazy.
Remembering Enoch's previous comment, the commander asked her reasoning for summoning them to her chamber. Enoch had stated there was something only the commander could do, and this situation
We got to get back to the
was
right
about to be
timeline.
elevated tenfold. Along with the incoming Raptures, Enoch also detected an entity moving at high velocity towards the Ark. The size and shape of the flying mass pointed to one heretic we're all too familiar with.
Oh, brother.
Nihilister.
She's back.
Nihilister was swiftly closing in on the Ark.
This ain't
He
good.
explains that she'll use a calling signal to lure her to her chamber.
This ain't good at all.
Raptors, being the only group to successfully do battle with Nihilister and live, will do
And we
battle
had a
in
cheat
the
code.
chamber. As Nihilister continues to rapidly approach, Rappy advises the commander to ready the Vop House as a last resort.
Oh,
Within
brother.
moments,
The first
Nihilister
resort.
reaches the chamber, tendrils of scorching hot flames emitting from her body.
Oh,
The
man.
heat alone is enough to nearly suffocate the commander. However, his NIKKEs remain vigilant. Nihilister had been attracted to the Ark from the excavation mine's explosion, and upon investigating, found a gaping hole in the ground.
Oh,
Curiosity
man.
had gotten the better of her, and thus she made her way to the Ark. It would appear that Nylister also has an alternative motive for being in the Ark as well.
Nice.
She states that she'll save her precious colleagues, Indivilia and Chatterbox. Yes, after Snow White and the Counters had defeated Chatterbox, the Ark had taken his remains and placed them under lock and key. The same goes for Indivilia, who
Okay, let's go gameplay.
Material H, who was recaptured.
Material
in
H.
Chapters.
Okay.
The Counters begin to taunt Nylister, saying they'll give her the same
I love seeing
treatment they had
gameplay.
with Eden, and remind her of the Vophouse that had nearly killed her. Well, taunt is an understatement. Anisi and Neon have way too much fun toying with her.
Which is crazy.
Fire it now!
Yes, you got scared. Ah, look at you.
Joking.
Ah.
I got good.
Ah, I got your
I
ass.
assure you,
She got scared.
your death will be a painful one.
Oh. That's not funny. Yeah, get her. Ah, look at her. Ah.
That really does work.
Ah, ha, ha.
Fire the Vophouse.
Ah. Pew, 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 pew. Ah.
Hey, pew, pew, pew.
Ah, ha.
Neon poking at Nylister,
Laugh at her.
ready to set the Ark ablaze. However, something in Enoch's chamber is not right. To Nylister, it feels eerily off. Disregarding this feeling, she yells for the group to burn as she unleashes her fire breath onto
Oh,
them.
man.
Enoch, thinking on her feet, secures a defensive barrier and
Ultimate
fortifies the
AI.
coolant to block the attack.
Coolant.
This fickle defense
Okay,
doesn't
great
last for
idea.
long, though, and each second that passes brings the Counters and the Commander closer to being burnt alive. With little to no option left, Rappy readies another code release for her hidden power. However, Enoch stops Rappy in her tracks. An unidentified object is quickly approaching the Ark at high speeds.
What?
Only
A
this
UO.
time, it wasn't another heretic, but a familiar face to the Counters.
Back up.
Out of nowhere, a single shot rings out, impacting Nylister, causing her limp body to fall
That's
to
Snow
the
White.
ground. Astonished, the Counters and the Commander look to the source of the sound.
It gotta be Snow White.
Suddenly,
Oh,
the entire
that's not
Ark
Snow White.
fills with the bright red light.
My
Hi,
eyes.
everyone.
Damn.
I am Dorothy.
Who?
I am a pilgrim who wanders the surface,
Oh,
but I have returned to save the Ark from destruction.
let's go.
Dorothy
pilgrim.
had returned.
This is
and
an
had
easy dub.
single-handedly taken down Nylister. With a hauntingly angelic greeting, this chapter ends with
Damn.
one monster being defeated and another emerging in the Ark.
Oh, brother.
Did you enjoy this recap? And what was your favorite part?
That was
Let me
amazing.
know in the comment section down below. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all in the next video.
Yeah.
Gianni.
That was so good. So good. All right. So thank you guys for watching the video. We're going to be live here on YouTube. But stay tuned because the rest of the videos are coming out. Everybody live. We're going to take a little break, but then we're going to continue this marathon. So yeah, see you guys when I see you guys. Thanks for watching the video. Peace.
Counters, rightfully so, are shocked to see Dorothy save them from Nylister. Miranda and Polly are also in awe of the situation. First a heretic and now a pilgrim entering the Ark.
Interesting.
Miranda is a bit wary of Dorothy's entrance. However, Polly begins to reassure her. Records of the pilgrim encounters exist from other surface expeditions, though some weren't exactly friendly. Reports show the pilgrims are
We
not
got
hostile
sausage
either.
rolls.
The commander decides to get to the bottom of the situation, setting out in pursuit of Dorothy. Before they leave, Enoch advises the group to contact her if another incident occurs. While exiting Enoch's chamber, Counters come across Dorothy, who is dragging Nylister's limp body along with her.
That dress is so
Instead of
amazing.
engaging in battle, Dorothy greets everyone with a smile. The commander is not falling for any of Dorothy's honeyed words, asking her directly her reasoning for being in the Ark. To the group's surprise, Dorothy didn't infiltrate the Ark, but instead was invited. Neon asks if Nylister is dead, and despite the clear gash on her throat, Dorothy states that Nihilister would heal herself in no time.
Yes.
Evidently, the fire dragon's
Healing
appearance
factor.
in the Ark was an uncalculated circumstance. However, Dorothy plans to use Nihilister as a token of good faith to the Ark. As Dorothy puts it, it's a gift to them, and the Ark can choose to use this gift for whatever they deem necessary. Spoken like a true politician, Dorothy continues, stating that her being in the Ark may be overwhelming, so a gift could possibly smooth things over. Anise, also aware of Dorothy's schemes, asks if there's a bomb inside Nihilister, or some other malicious plot involved. Dorothy simply giggles in response, hauntingly stating that she is in possession of weapons far stronger than a measly bomb. This, of course, both offsets and relates.
That's terrifying.
Rapture asks Dorothy about Papillon next, and if Johann, or rather, the members of Eden, knew she was in the Ark. Amused by Rappy's bombardment of questions, she mockingly states Counters seem frightened by her. She reassures the group, stating that Papillon was serving her role in Eden perfectly. She's used Papillon to get in contact with the Ark, and at this moment, she should be resting peacefully in Eden. Papillon had agreed to keep Dorothy and the Ark connected for the foreseeable future. Under what threat she agreed to this plan is still up to speculation. Regarding Eden, of course, in perfect Dorothy fashion, they're unaware of being there. As we've previously learned in past chapters, Eden has a huge disdain for the Ark. Due to Dorothy disclosing that confidential information, she says she'll have to cut the meeting short, asking for them to point her in the direction of Chief Birmingham. When asked why Chief Birmingham specifically, it is revealed that he is the one that invited Dorothy to Eden. The commander patches through to Birmingham with the help of Enoch.
That's
Shocked by the super AI contacting him, Birmingham is instead met with Dorothy's voice. She immediately questions the sincerity of the invite sent to her, and stuttering like he always does, Birmingham tells Dorothy he will send troops to escort her right away. Dorothy seems downcast by this, stating that she can make her way to him alone, giving her a chance to fully explore the Ark.
She a pilgrim.
She also tauntingly tells Birmingham she has a gift for him once they meet. This, of course, being Nihilister. Birmingham directs Dorothy to a briefing room, setting the coordinates to Miranda as well. ACPU will be escorting Dorothy to their designated location. Pleased learning of who Polly and Miranda is, Dorothy is happily
They're
joined
so
by the duo,
adorable.
eager to see the vastness the Ark has to offer. Polly, however, isn't too easily swayed by Dorothy's act. Anise and Rappy agree that it's best to have Polly present to escort Dorothy.
This is so sick.
She's sharp and will pick up on anything off about their guest when taking her to meet with Birmingham. The commander then asks Enoch for an update on their current situation. The Dome of Eternity was nearly repaired, and a group of Nikkes led by Absolute and Matisse are still fighting on the surface. In addition, reinforcements were sent from the Ark to ensure no further Raptures invaded. Despite Enoch's reassurance, there is one pressing issue. The Ark is still overrun with Raptures. Luckily, despite the high concentration of Raptures, according to Enoch, there are no further casualties in the Ark. Due to the high amount of Nikkes being deployed, counters will not be needed to assist on the surface. Hearing this, the commander shifts his attention to a new target, Exotic. He asks Enoch if she's aware of their whereabouts. However, due to the invasion, Enoch's attention was elsewhere. During the commotion, Exotic took their leave, disappearing from Enoch's radar. Ultimately, she is unable to pinpoint their current location. Thinking on his feet, the commander asks for Suan's location next. Enoch tells him that she's currently in the
I do not miss her.
headquarters along with Ingrid and Mustang. If anyone should know about Exotic, it would be Suan.
Yeah, I bet.
Enoch chimes in with one final statement. She'll relay relevant video
Hell,
information to
Suan.
the big three CEOs, but after this, her attention will be on repairing the Ark. Due to this, the counters will be entirely on their own. Despite the swiftness of repairs on the Dome of Eternity, the commander can't help but feel a sense of unease. This is Exotic we're dealing with, and if past chapters have shed any light, it's the fact that they're extremely devious and calculated. Just like with Underworld Queen and Heavenly Ascension, the commander fears their attention is being diverted from a much bigger plot. Even if they were safe from the
It's
Raptures,
4D
they weren't
chess.
safe from the deranged plans of an anarchist bent on watching the Ark burn to the ground.
She
We fast
crazy.
forward to Missless headquarters, where the commander is having a meeting with the Big Three. Despite the information sent by Enoch, Ingrid still feels it's not substantial information to solidify that this attack was Exotic's doing.
Big
Mustang
three.
agrees with this statement, saying that he'll need conclusive evidence to pin the events on Exotic. Even though Exotic is on record with recorded events, they're simply too sporadic to properly use as evidence. Crow registered a bomb on the dark net, Viper communicating with others as she normally did, and Jackal gnawing on metal chains. All of this information at face value doesn't equate to much in Mustang's eyes. During this exchange, Suan, understandably so, remains quiet. Despite how much shit she's put the counters and the commander through, this event was out of her hands. Both Mustang and Ingrid agree that the most logical choice would be a brain scan to determine Exotic's true intent behind their actions. For once, I agree with Suan's response to this. They already have all the evidence needed to condemn Exotic. Suan pulls out her phone, but before she can do anything else, the commander grabs hold of her wrist. She was going for the self-detonation app for Exotic.
Oh
Suan's
man.
track record with the commander isn't exactly squeaky clean, and he tells Suan that if she goes through with the detonation, she'll be sorry. The commander knows that Suan will attempt to sweep this under the rug.
Of course.
Despite Suan's retort, he holds his ground. Of course, both Suan and the commander's actions here are irrational, both acting out of emotion more than anything else. Ingrid chimes in and reminds Suan of the task at hand. They have to ensure that they know who the real culprits are. Although Suan's reaction is a bit irrational, she does have a point. The evidence over Exotic is already very damning. The one thing Suan fails to realize is the fact that this needs to be handled in a way that, on paper, will not look irrational or sporadic. They are the leaders of the Big Three, and thus there's protocol to situations
Kendrick
like
Lamar.
this one. Things aren't as cut and dry as Suan is making them out to be, and
Big
the
three.
blame is currently being pinned on EH, the leader of Heavenly Ascension. As Sakura had predicted, Heavenly Ascension had been dubbed as terrorist organization in the Outer Rim, sparking the vicious cycle of death and carnage Underworld Queen had warned EH of. Just as Underworld Queen had predicted, the central government now has the grounds to exterminate the entirety of the Outer Rim. This recent attack was seen as an act of aggression. If the central government finds even a sliver of evidence connecting this breach with Heavenly Ascension, they won't hesitate to wipe the Outer Rim off the map. It doesn't help that Deputy McChucklefuck is already on the map. He won't let an opportunity
Oh,
like this
brother.
to wipe out the Outer Rim pass him by. Due to the
Deputy McChucklefuck. Bro, I gotta rewind that.
map, it doesn't help that Deputy McChucklefuck is already on the
Ah, look at him.
move. He won't let an opportunity like this
Yeah,
to wipe
that's
out the
funny.
Outer Rim pass him by.
Yo, W
Due to
Pirates,
these
bro.
circumstances, as Mustang puts it, the entire fate of the Outer Rim is in the balance of Exotic's capture. This is where we play the game of not empathizing with Suan. She doesn't care about what happens to the people in the Outer Rim.
She doesn't care
And
about
just
anybody.
like that, I do not agree with anything she says anymore. Mustang, clearly irritated with Suan, grabs her phone, snapping it in half with his bare hands.
Damn.
Mustang flippantly states that he sometimes underestimates his own strength, as the
Oops.
brat voices explicits at him for breaking her phone.
Oh,
Shifting his
brother.
attention from Suan, Mustang tells the commander that they'll leave it up to counters to track down Exotic. Even though Ingrid and Mustang would love to help, there is
Excuse
still
me.
the danger of Raptures remaining in the Ark.
Uh-oh.
Due to this, most of the manpower will shift to reclaiming places overrun. Ingrid, despite having limited manpower, does promise the commander one thing: she'll have Extrinsic on standby. Mustang only asks to
Extrinsic.
reinforce the support for the
Extrinsic.
counters and the
Extrinsic.
commander, contemplating if he should mobilize his queens to assist. He will send them to sabotage Dobon's little scheme in the Outer Rim. After all, Mustang won't let such a silly bagatelle get in the way of his operations.
So what?
Mustang
A
is aware
bagatelle?
of Dobon's plan, gathering up troops in the Outer Rim, and is ready to drop a wrench to cause a little bit of trouble for him. Amidst all this commotion, the commander realizes a key player missing in this meeting.
Mr. Anderson.
Ingrid informs the commander that Anderson is recuperating for the time being.
We've
It's nothing
missed you,
life-threatening.
Mr.
However,
Anderson.
Anderson won't be joining them this time around. Once everything
Anderson will
settles
not be
down,
joining us
Ingrid
this
will give the
round.
commander the details. With their new mission to track down Exotic, the commander sets his sights on the Outer Rim.
Commander.
With Ingrid and Mustang wishing the group good luck, Counter set out to
Good luck.
apprehend the masterminds behind the invasion of the Ark. Back at Missla's headquarters, Suan, unsurprisingly, is having a fit over Exotic's current actions. To Suan, they are actively ruining everything that she had done to bring Matisse back up to the top. Her pride gets the better of her, and she refuses to let it all crumble down.
Oh,
She asks
damn.
Miara for her phone, and smugly states that she can still detonate Exotic's bomb. Navigating to the app, she is shocked to find that the feature isn't working. Evidently, according to Miara, the main comms are still down, and it will take some time to repair. There were reports of teeth marks on the equipment in the main communication hub.
Hey,
Once
yo.
again, an active jackal. Suan, fueled even more by her rage, yells at Uni and Miara to track down Exotic, and once they do, kill them on sight. Suan directs this task as
Green
an
light.
order, reinstating it by saying she'll turn off Miara and Uni's
Weapons
inhibitors,
free.
making them able to shoot freely at a target. And this is a point where I remind you all that Uni has a huge vendetta against Suan.
Yeah.
So this can't go horribly wrong, right?
Could
With the
it?
new objective of capturing Exotic,
I
both
don't
Uni and
know.
Miara set out. It's also important to note that the detonation
brother.
app may share the same communication line. However, it is not visible to Tetra or Elysian. A sly way for Suan
Hacking
to
into the
engage in covert
mainframe.
correspondence under the noses of both Mustang and Ingrid. As Counters and the commander make it to the Outer Rim, they notice that the partition is open. The partition is a massive wall that separates the Outer Rim from the Ark, and normally has a massive door blocking the entrance. The door can only be opened with the permission of the higher-ups, and in this case, it most likely was Dobon who ordered it open. There's one other off-putting fact.
Interesting.
The surrounding area is quiet. Too quiet. With the
Too
partition door
quiet.
left wide open, it's surprising to not see people rushing for refuge in the Ark, since the Outer Rim didn't have any safety shelters. Seeking an answer, the group hears Moran call out to them. Raptures had invaded the Outer Rim.
They
and
did
Moran
what?
asks for assistance in clearing them out. Moran is surprised that the Counters are already informed of Exotic's antics. Just like them, Moran
That's
had
crazy.
also decided to start looking for Exotic in the Outer Rim. Moran is relieved to see Counters. Having them back her up will greatly assist her in her operation.
Yeah, I
Dealing
bet.
with Raptures isn't exactly Moran's forte, and she admits she's been in over her head since encountering them. Evidently, Moran is unaware of the
Evidently.
team's movements. Just like with Coin Rush, Sakura and Rosanna had left Moran out of the loop to avoid any further collateral. This, of
Okay.
course, upsets Moran,
Sure.
but she's trying to play her cards as best as she can in this situation. Luckily, Moran informs the group that the citizens of the Outer Rim are at least safe. Thanks to the broadcast about invading Raptures, they were all able to make it to safety in time. Anise then asks if Moran had found anything on Exotic's movements. Despite her time looking, Moran hadn't turned up any solid leads. According to Moran,
No leads.
Exotic had visited Heavenly Ascension's main base regularly. Heavenly Ascension is always moving their main base, and Moran is unsure of where it may be located now. According
Big
to
brain.
Moran, the base could have information on recent attacks, and if they're lucky, they may find Exotic there too. Moran advises the group to pay some of the evacuation camps a visit first. This way, they have the chance of finding someone associated with Heavenly Ascension to further question. As the team makes their way to the camps, they can't help but notice how dilapidated some of these encampments are. One Rapture could easily topple it down.
Dilapidated.
Moran approaches the man and asks if he's the leader of the camp. According to the man, all they can do is hope and pray for their safety, something that they've always done before.
Hey, sometimes it
As
works.
a small side note, I really want to reinforce just how miserable the living conditions in the Outer Rim are. Think of the Outer Rim as a place someone would live in as an absolute last resort.
Yeah, I
A place where
bet.
criminals, outlaws, and scum of the Ark reside.
Yep.
These outlaws are intermixed with people who are unable to fit in, work, or survive in the crushing financial demands of the Ark. The man
Oh,
Moran is talking to is trying to wrap his head
you
around
gotta
the
be
situation.
careful around here. It's sketchy.
Normally, Heavenly Ascension
say the
only issues
least.
warnings or detonates government facilities.
Sketchy.
Blowing a hole in the Ark is something even he can't see a clear reasoning to. He tells Moran of rumors of a big attack being planned. However, it would be one with no casualties. This perfectly fits with the plan EH had stated previously. All she wanted was protection in the Outer Rim. Seeing as the central government didn't bat an eye, she decided to take matters into her own hands. The original plan was to never bring harm onto anyone, but instead defend those precious to EH, the members of the Outer Rim. The man views this as the Ark's golden opportunity to snuff everyone out. Moran tries to tell him that the situation isn't as black and white as he may think. The commander chimes in, saying that they're looking for those responsible for the attack. Seeing a member of the military present causes a man to panic, saying that they did nothing.
I don't blame him.
And EH is to blame. The commander tries to damage control the situation, but Moran intervenes, asking for the location of Heavenly Ascension's main base. The man, still shaken, asks if he will be left alone in exchange for such information. Though Moran agrees,
Be careful.
the man wants the commander to say it.
It's the
Someone
government.
is a member of the Ark's militia.
You gotta be
Agreeing
careful.
to these terms, the man gives the commander the coordinates to the main base and the group sets out. As they continue, the commander notices Moran doesn't look too happy. Moran states that it's just disheartening to hear that everything is being pinned on EH. Despite the Ark dubbing her as a terrorist, according to Moran, EH did everything she could to deliver the Outer Rim's message without getting anyone hurt. EH did all she could to make the Outer Rim a better place to live. But not everyone sees her in the same light.
Of course.
EH is a known terrorist, but she still tried to walk a different path to reach her goal. To Moran, it's just sad to see that she died before being able to even take the first step. As the team reaches the coordinates, they are shocked at how lackluster the main base for Heavenly Ascension is. It's supposed to be the primary hub for a notorious terrorist organization, and yet, it wasn't necessarily anything to write home about. Moran reminds the group that Heavenly Ascension wasn't the richest bunch out there. Anise questions how they can confirm this is the main base. Moran's response is the smell in the air. It reeks of gunpowder, meaning whoever was here before was armed. As the team investigates the base, they're really interrupted by some uninvited guests. Neon states that something is coming, 10 in total. Suddenly, a huge explosion erupts as the doors to the base fly from their hinges. Amidst the smoke, a group of NIKKEs emerge, one of which is shocked to see counters there. The group is met with 10 mass-produced NIKKEs.
It's an ambush.
Wasting no time, the commander identifies both himself and counters, and to his surprise, some of the mass-produced models are aware of who they are. With the air seemingly less heavy around the groups, counters inquire about the mass production model's reasoning for blowing the door in. This is where things take an eerie turn. The counters and the commander have had their fair share of missions, and the response to the mass production models sets off red flags in their heads. According to the mass production models, Deputy Chief Dobon had dispatched NIKKEs to the Outer Rim after hearing of the Raptures invading the area. The group of mass production NIKKEs had blown a hole in the door in search of supplies to continue the fight. Still wary, the commander suddenly gets a text message from Viper. Viper informs the commander that the guns the mass production models have are meant to kill humans. Quick to relay this information, the commander yells to
This
the
ain't
group.
good.
Counters is shocked, and
This is
Moran,
very not good.
understandably so, is infuriated. Dobon, that rotten motherfucker,
How could
is
he?
just using the Rapture invasion as an excuse to
How
keep
could
everyone
he?
in the Outer Rim out.
How could he?
Moran asks the NIKKEs if it was Dobon who opened the partition. As they try to stutter through a response, Moran demands for none of them to move. If
Freeze.
they do, she'll snap them in two.
Oh,
She'll be confiscating their weaponry. Amidst the commotion, a sudden screeching sound emanates from behind the commander. As he turns around, peering into a crack in the wall, he sees a familiar face.
oh man.
Viper. The
Okay.
commander yells out as Viper grabs the commander's shirt and pulls him back into a newly formed space in the wall. Rappy yells out to the commander as they both find
Hold on a
themselves
second. It's
plummeting
getting freaky.
into darkness.
Getting freaky in here, bro.
Luckily for the commander, Rappy was able to break his fall, ensuring that he didn't get hurt. They had fallen 33 feet into a series of tunnels beneath the Outer Rim.
33 feet.
Immediately, The commander attempts to re-establish connection with Denise and Neon. However, a familiar voice chimes in. Viper states that the signals are jammed in the tunnels. In a fit of rage, Rappy charges at Viper, and in response, Viper presses a button, activating a trap in the tunnels.
It's a trap!
Tendrils of fire spew from the tunnel walls, forcing Rappy to retreat back. Viper taunts Rappy to behave, saying that she'll torch both the commander and her if they try to make a move.
Oh, brother.
The commander, rightfully
good.
so, doesn't give Viper the same treatment he had before. This time,
She's
he's
crazy.
all business, demanding answers
time
from
for
the vicious
business.
snake of Exotic. Viper is a bit displeased at how grumpy the commander is at
Chicken
her.
steak.
She states that she'll lead them to Crow,
Delicious.
advising Rappy and the commander
Aloy
to
mat.
follow her through the labyrinth of tunnels connecting the Ark to the Outer Rim. Even though the commander notices Viper is unarmed, he is still vigilant. Viper always has a trick up her sleeve. And what's worse,
Stay
if they
vigilant.
make a wrong move, they'll be burnt to a crisp. As Viper drifts in front of Rappy and the commander,
This is
guiding the
amazing.
way, the commander begins
love
to
NIKKE.
communicate through hand signals with Rappy. He asks her if the suppression bullets are ready. Evidently, while in Eden, Johan had taught the commander a few tricks that would prove handy on the battlefield, one of which being this exchange of hand signals.
Okay.
Rappy confirms that the suppression bullets are ready, and asks the commander if she should take the shot now. The commander advises against it. For now, they'll continue to follow Viper and try to draw as little attention as possible to their plan. Breaking the silence, Viper calls out to the commander. To no one's surprise, she alludes to the silence between them and asks how they could be possibly talking in secret behind her back. He asks Viper how she knew he was looking her away, and her response is a little bit of teasing on how he was trying to sneak a peek.
That's some
Viper
freak shit.
changes the tune of the conversation, asking the commander hates Exotic. Of course, rightfully so, she's met with
course.
silence. Viper continues to taunt the commander, listing the things they've done to garner his ire. The Ark's invasion, the terrorist attacks, the little hole that they left in his stomach. Still getting no reply,
Hey, yo.
Viper pushes forward, asking what the commander would do should he capture Exotic. Viper continues to monologue how perfectly executed the plan Exotic concocted was. If the timing was slightly off, things could have ended disastrously. Saying that their plan to pin everything on Heavenly Ascension had been successful, however, only temporarily. Now that the commander was after Exotic, they'll have to be on their toes. However, she proceeds to taunt the central government.
Oh,
If the
don't
Ark
do
really wanted
that.
them captured,
Uh-oh.
they would have sent out all their forces to find them. But they had their hands full with the Rapture invasion.
Yeah.
As Viper continues her monologue, the commander hatches a new plan. He instructs Rappy to cut through the cables in the tunnel.
Plan B.
However, advises her to do it in sections to avoid detection from Viper. For once, Viper being self-absorbed in her own accomplishments would come in handy, aiding the
Monologuing.
commander Rappy to create room for an escape.
Ha 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 ha
Viper
ha ha.
decides to push the envelope further, asking the commander his real intentions with hunting them down. The commander states it's to get even for their little encounter in Chapter 16. However, Viper quickly denounces this. She states that if that were the commander's real objective, he could have just had Suan blow them up and be done with it. She tries to manipulate the commander further, asking if there's any way they would forgive them. Of course, the commander's answer is blunt and straightforward. There is no way in hell that will be happening.
Okay.
This time, Exotic had gone way too far. The commander, in order to buy Rappy more time,
This ain't good.
tries his hand at manipulation tactics,
Let's see.
asking Viper why Exotic had gone so far to execute this heinous plan.
This
He
music is
states
so
that he wants to
beautiful.
help Viper, and in response, she laughs off the obviously fickle comment. It's simple. Exotic wanted to test the commander's loyalty to NIKKE's.
Oh, brother.
Before the conversation continues,
Testing
Rappy
loyalty.
informs the commander that she had severed the wire.
Y'all be
Through
careful.
the commander's quick thinking, they could successfully re-establish a connection to the remainder of counters. As Viper continues her monologue, the commander successfully sends a text to the counter's group chat. Swiftly, the
We
text
got a
is
group
received,
chat.
and Neon and Anise are quickly on their way. Viper stops her monologue and asks the commander to see his phone. If he shows her his phone, she'll show her hers.
Oh, okay.
Smugly, Viper reveals the phone screen, with a text being ready to send to Crow and Jackal requesting backup. The commander stands his ground, stating that it would be wise for Viper to do so. Neon and Anise were also on their way. Viper, seemingly backed into a corner, reminds Rappy and the commander of the flamethrower she's previously mentioned. Rappy wastes no time kicking the wall closest to her, revealing pipes in the inner walls. For a tunnel fixed with flamethrowers, there's no oil or gas leaking out, and the place is too clean to have traps Viper had taunted with them at the start. Viper seems a bit gloomy, saying they could have just talked things out. Before they can catch Viper, a drone rushes the two, exploding midair.
Oh man.
Rappy, knowing that Viper
Drone
couldn't have
warfare.
set this trap, calls for whoever is responsible to come out.
What a nightmare.
Jackal and Crow emerge, greeting the commander and Rappy. As Exotic is about to engage with Rappy and the commander, Anise and Neon finally join the fray, ready to back the commando unit. Crow isn't pleased with Viper's plunder in their plan, and Jackal, being Jackal, asks the commander if he's there to play with them. The commander learns that Moran had disposed of the Nikkes threatening them earlier. She made her way to the partition to stop any more Nikkes from coming into the outer rim. Evidently, Crow is still displeased with Viper, asking the commander if they should simply talk things out. Crow states that fighting isn't her specialty, but at this point, pity isn't an option for Exotic.
No pity.
The commander releases the inhibitors on counters,
Let's go.
giving them full permission to use live ammunition. This actually shocks
Weapons
Exotic.
free.
The commander is serious about taking them down. Funnily enough, amidst all of this, Jackal is just confused. You have to remember that although Viper and Crow have malicious intent, Jackal quite literally is just following them around. She literally means what she says. For instance, playing with the commander. It's simply a game to her, blindly arrogant of the weight of the situation at hand. A shootout ensues between the two groups, which quickly turns.
Those are called fuck games. If you play fuck games, you're bound to get fucked. Do not play those games.
It appears the counters have the upper hand due to their vast experience in combat. Of course,
Play
Crow,
stupid
being the
games,
dirty
win
little
stupid
chicken shit
prizes.
Nikke that she is, activates all the flamethrowers in the tunnels, raising the temperature and depleting all oxygen in the surrounding area. This of course doesn't affect counters, but the commander isn't faring too well. Rappy is angered by Crow for doing something so underhanded. But are we really surprised? The commander is struggling to breathe, and Viper taunts that the counters can't even retreat from the rear. The fire is coming up from behind as well. She also reminds him that Nikkes burn just as humans do. Viper pulls out an oxygen
This is
mask.
terrible.
The Nikkes won't have to worry about depleting oxygen, but the commander won't last long without it. Exotic demands for the commander, and if he's handed over, they'll give him the oxygen mask. Despite Anise
You know, it's so interesting hearing the Nikkes. It's like they can burn, but they don't breathe in oxygen. It's like, I don't know. Some of these things are strange, and then some of them are like, it makes sense.
pressing Exotic, Viper states that they're in no position to negotiate. The time for talking is over. There's no time for discussion. The commander is succumbing to the effects of the lack of oxygen in the tunnel. Backed into a corner, counters reluctantly hand the commander over, Rappy threatening Exotic's life should they lay a finger on him. Neon gently pushes the commander towards Viper, who puts the oxygen mask over his face. The commander, despite being able to breathe again, is still disoriented.
Yeah.
Viper calls out to Neon, pulling a tracking device from the commander's pocket. A sneaky trick, but Neon will need more practice to actually deceive Exotic. Viper collects the counter's phones for good measure, stomping them to bits. As Viper and
man.
Exotic bid farewell to the counters, they disappear into the flames.
Not the phone.
Anise is understandably upset with the way things turned out, and Rappy begins to formulate a plan to retrieve the commander. Evidently, Neon had placed more than just a tracker on the commander. She advises the group to go back to secure a vantage point. Neon had slipped a smoke grenade in his inner pocket, set to detonate when exposed to external pressure. Thanks to Neon's quick thinking, the counters have a plan to retrieve the commander.
Okay.
With Exotic's plan in full swing, we are then met with Moran near the partition of the Outer Rim. Moran had attempted to call both Sakura and Rosanna, only to be met with the cryptic response of their own missions being underway. Moran was requesting help, informing them of Doban's plan, but the most she got were wishings of good luck from her teammates. Sakura and Rosanna were already aware of Doban's plan, and it would seem like they had their own countermeasures set up as well. With Moran trying to formulate a proper course of action, she suddenly gets a call from Jin. Jin informs Moran of Dobon's movements. He's heading to the Outer Rim personally, and Jin advises Moran to get out of there at once.
Man, there's so
The only
many
reason
layers.
Underworld Queen isn't 6 feet under is due to Mustang stepping in during their last scuffle with him. This time, as Jin puts it, Dobon will see it personally to enact his revenge. Moran isn't scared one bit by Dobon or the army of Nikke's he'll have in tow. If Dobon is left to his own devices, according to Moran, the Outer Rim is doomed. Due to this fact, Moran is hell-bent on stopping Dobon herself. Jin is genuinely worried, not wanting Moran to get hurt, saying he'll try to grab more intel to help her out. Jin also informs her that Sakura and Rosanna were hatching plans of their own. Sakura is in the Outer Rim convincing everyone to lay down their weapons, and Rosanna is planning on taking down all the troops that Dobon sends out. With Moran confused by this revelation, we transition to an evacuation camp in the Outer Rim, where Sakura's plan is being set in motion. Sakura is advising the armed members of the shelters to lay down their weapons. Understandably, the shelter members are against this choice, fully aware that Dobon was on his way to eradicate them. Sakura raises a good point in rebuttal. If Dobon enters the Outer Rim and is met with armed citizens, the result will be anything but good. Instead, the members of the Outer Rim need to play the victim, no matter how humiliating it may be. That way, if Dobon does try anything, it won't be seen as the savages of the Outer Rim fighting the Ark, but instead, as a senseless slaughter of unarmed citizens enacted by a deranged deputy chief.
Absolutely.
Sakura ensures that no harm will come to the shelter members, as Seimekai is backing them under her command. Sakura then reminds the man that if they don't comply peacefully, she'll force them into compliance. She then says that Seimekai always gets what they want, one way or another. To seal her statement, she mocks the resolve of the people, stating that they can keep holding on to their weapons and see firsthand the consequences of doing so. With Sakura's plan in motion, we are then met with Rosanna. Rosanna is with her gang in the Ark, meeting with her consigliere. Rosanna is informed of 20 mass-produced Nikke's being dispatched to intercept them. Rosanna's response, of course, is to fight. She informs her consigliere that these Nikke's inhibitors will be turned off, and thus, the fight may be difficult for her underlings. Despite this, she wants to expose them to combat, and sends them to the front lines to combat Dobon's Nikke's. Rosanna's command is simple, to wipe all the mass-produced Nikke's out. To Rosanna, this is exhilarating. Never did she expect to engage in a firefight in the Ark in broad daylight. As the fight continues, Rosanna is informed of 50 additional Nikke's being sent out, with Dobon coming with an additional 20. Rosanna is, understandably, livid at how stupid Dobon's actions are. Raptures are running rampant in the Ark, and instead of helping, he is declaring war on the Outer Rim.
Like, come on, man.
According to Rosanna,
unless it was
he's
all
missing
planned.
A few screws, thinking he can take down the Outer Rim. Following this, we get a brief background on Dobon's character.
To take them out while they're down.
Dobon hails from the Outer Rim, and according to Rosanna,
the Outer Rim,
he sold the entire place out. He sang like a canary, giving the Ark everything he knew about the Outer Rim. In exchange for selling out the Outer Rim, Dobon quickly rose to the ranks of the Ark, eventually situating himself as the second in command. Although her consigliere states Dobon's reasoning for selling out the Outer Rim, Rosanna simply can't agree with it. Dobon is the embodiment of human filth. Fired up and raring to go, Rosanna comments on the slow pace in which Hedonia is handling the mass-produced Nikke's. Given the fire to fight, and accompanied by her consigliere, they both enter the fray, quickly dispatching the Nikke's Dobon has sent to eliminate them. With the exchange of gunfire between Hedonia and Dobon's goons, we shift once more to Moran. Moran and Jin are continuing their conversation about her two squadmates. Jin asks for Moran's next course of action. Moran plans to ensure that no further reinforcements enter the Outer Rim. We then see Dobon complaining about his reinforcements being late. Although we don't see it directly, The slight pause is a clear indicator that he is told of Hedonia
Oh,
the
man.
work of his little group of Nikkes. Dobon is livid, having some choice words for Underworld Queen. He also
Wow.
questions Mustang's line of thinking.
You kiss your
letting
mother
these
with that mouth?
girls run free. Dobon makes an announcement to the citizens of the Outer Rim. He advises the citizens to shoot
Whoa.
the terrorists on sight.
The
This
who?
man has a gigantic hate boner for Underworld Queen.
He's
Commanding
crazy.
his troops to advance forward, Dobon is swiftly interrupted by Moran. Moran is perched between the gaps in the partition, questioning if Dobon plans on going inside. She informs the group that the Outer Rim is her turf, and no one gets in unless she says so. Dobon, infuriated at Moran interfering with his
Queen.
plans, tells her to move aside. If she valued her
Uh-oh.
own life, she'd
Uh-oh.
do as he said.
Uh-oh.
Moran's cold response is the same goes for Dobon and his troops. They'd scram or look for another entrance. Both parties know this is the only entrance to the Outer Rim, so that isn't an option. Moran continues to taunt Dobon, stating how funny it would be for him to run back to the Ark with his tail between his legs.
Bring that
after
ass
getting
here,
his
boy.
ass kicked by one single Nikke.
Ooh.
This is your last warning. Move!
Like I said,
Made me move.
this is my turf. The only way you're getting through is if you 1. Kill me,
Yeah.
or 2. Pay the toll. The toll is cheap. Let me sock you across your face.
Ooh.
We are met with exotic.
said,
and
"Either
their
way,
new
you getting
hostage,
slapped."
The commander.
Okay.
He's shocked they'd pull such a dirty trick, but Crow remarks that when backed into a corner, people resort to extreme measures.
They sure do.
The commander is bound to a chair and is unable to break free from his restraints. The commander asks Crow what she wanted to discuss with him, and Crow instructs him to look towards the television. Tetra is broadcasting a live feed throughout the entire arc, the word preparing plastered on the screen. Tetra Connect was preparing for their next broadcast, and while they wait, Crow wanted to talk to the commander. She asked if he had found Vop House, and, playing dumb, the commander asked what Vop House is. This alone lets Crow know that he did recover some, and the commander had already forgotten what Johan had told him before, to not wear his heart on his sleeve and make his intentions clear. Evidently, Crow is impressed by the commander and questions
what
how
you
he
have
plans
to.
to get out of this bind. The commander states that he'll apprehend Exotic and make them confess, and if they don't, the Ark will conduct a brain scan on them. And this
Oh, okay.
is where Crow begins her infamous villain monologue.
Oh, let me
She
hear it.
begins rambling on how they are on the verge of achieving
Blah, blah,
what
blah,
the
blah,
commander
blah,
had
blah, blah,
always
blah.
wanted, building a foundation where Nikkes will receive better treatment. The commander, of course, is puzzled. but
Nikke's
Crow
at the top.
continues.
Humans at the
Using
bottom.
Matisse as an example, she asks the commander if he thinks weapons with no nymph would actually fight alongside humanity.
Unless people have total control over Nikkes, they would never protect humans willingly.
You don't know
Why
that.
would they? When humans only regard them as cannon fodder.
Some of them are
Goddess of
loyal.
victory. What a joke.
Crow is confident Suan would do
Blasphemous.
something about the negative comments about Matisse having no nymph. She didn't expect how far Suan would go though, bringing Raptures into the Ark. All of that in order to uphold Matisse and Missless's reputation, showcasing that even without nymph, Nikkes can still protect humans. Crow
They sure
poses
can.
another question to the commander, asking him why he thinks Exotic blew a hole in the Ark. It's simple. It was because she wanted something more. The Goddess of Victory mantle, to Crow, is nothing more than an elaborate ruse. Matisse is nothing more than dancing monkeys, and that's the reason they blew a hole in the Dome of Eternity. By unleashing the Raptures into this so-called utopia, she was curious on what the Ark would do in response to that.
And let's see.
Basically, Crow is testing the moniker Goddess of Victory to see if Nikkes truly will defend humanity or abandon them entirely. To Crow, the pandemonium caused by this event will bring
She's
equality
crazy.
to everyone. Equality of fear, that is.
She is crazy.
Regardless of
She's
status,
just like Pain from
everyone will be
Naruto.
struck with the same choking feeling of dread. The commander,
You
rightfully
shall
so,
know
calls
pain.
Crow insane.
Shinra
The
Tensei.
logic has gotten countless
Head
people
ass.
killed, and she has the audacity to say that she never wanted anyone to die.
Looking
Crow
at.
continues, stating the timing for the terrorist attack was also planned. Matisse's celebration meant that everyone would be gathered in one place and could bear witness firsthand to the reality of NIKKE's fighting Raptures. Unfortunately, Enoch had thrown a wrench in this plan, whisking off the Ark's citizens into shelters. This meant, just like before, they would only see the conflict from behind the comfort of a television screen. Crow continues, stating that she had high hopes
No
with
other
the
place
Heretic
to be for
entering the
some.
fray. To Crow's dismay though, before the Heretic could even make a move, she was taken out by a pilgrim. To the human onlookers, according to Crow, this was more of a spectacle than anything else. Crow is clearly irritated with the sequence of events.
They're just watching
following
on TV.
Matisse's corruption. She wants to see what choice the Ark will make. However, each and every time, something seems to dismantle that plan. Crow gives the commander a brief history on the Ark. She recounts the members of Goddess and their sacrifice. Despite fighting tooth and nail for the Ark, they were cast aside the second the Ark was completed. The same can be said for the first surface reclamation. Those who became suitors were regarded as goddesses of victory, only for the campaign to end in disaster. In the years that followed, citizens shifted their view of NIKKEs from goddesses of victory to expendable tools. This is also where a spike of NIKKE came from as well. NIKKEs were blamed for each and every situation that befell the Ark. They were expensive to make and maintain, and thus garnered the ire of humanity as the years progressed. Just like the first
Android hate,
the second also ended in failure too. This period was also substantial due to the passing of the first celebrity NIKKE. For those of you who played Beauty Full Shot, this is the same NIKKE Mustang mentioned during the event. This also was followed by the Goddess Fall incident, which was caused after the Model ZX attack. To Crow, humanity is locked in a rinse and repeat cycle. Never-ending praises of NIKKEs, to then immediately prosecuting them shortly after. While NIKKEs reside in the Ark, they never truly
It's complacency. It's complacency. That's all it is. It's complacency. Humans got complacent with NIKKEs and started looking at them just like any other washing machine, whatever. Like, they got used to them. That's a damn shame.
Crow compares NIKKEs to fictional characters. And to Crow,
they might as well be,
because the Ark hasn't felt fear that comes with going against the Raptures firsthand. The only way humans can understand this is to expose them to that fear and give the Ark a choice. One of these options,
she's crazy, but she's right,
diluted ideology, is what the commander wants: the respect for all NIKKEs. The commander, tired of Crow's antics, asks what she really wants, and in response, Crow tells the commander to focus his attention to the television. While en route to track Crow, Uni diverts, seemingly seeking out something other than exotic. Confused, Miara follows, questioning Uni's objective. However, before she can get a clear answer, Uni sets her sights on her next target. A broadcaster and cameraman, hiding from the nearby Raptures prowling in the area. Miara suggests saving the members of Tetra Connect, and with an eerie giggle, Uni agrees, making her way towards the two humans.
Uni is broken.
The commander, observing the television screen,
she'll do anything.
Hears the sound of the camera coming to life. This was the following announcement.
Attention, Ark citizens! Are you seeing this?
Uh-oh.
A Rapture has broken into one of the shelters. Everyone who was hiding inside is dead. The Raptures have figured out there are people inside the shelters. No shelter is safe.
They're gonna go with mad hysteria.
Everyone must get out of the shelters. If you stay there, you will die. Do not trust the central government. Your lives mean nothing to them.
It's corrupt. What?
I repeat. The shelters are not safe. The shelters are not safe.
We gotta go. We gotta run away.
Horror. Uni's voice is heard. A voice leading countless humans to their death. Of course, Crow is pleased by all of this, taking credit for pointing Uni in the right direction. This is her magnum opus, and the curtains are unveiled to the commander. Pulling back the curtain to their hideout reveals a clear visual of downtown, and the commander can do nothing but watch. What follows is one of the most disturbing events in NIKKE's main campaign.
Oh, okay, let me watch this.
Beyond the broken glass,
What happened?
all of downtown is visible.
Engaging! Rapture is advancing! We need to clear them out! Just how many more are there? Just keep firing!
Unlimited.
As far as the eye can see, Nikkes are doing battle with Raptures.
Wait! The shelters!
After a few moments, however, people start to trickle out from the shelters.
Oh no, they're coming out and they're gonna get. Oh.
Broadcast.
Oh man.
Focus fire! They're targeting the humans!
Oh man.
From the rear! We'll be overwhelmed!
From the rear.
What do we do?
Oh
Protect the
damn.
humans! Avoid
Yeah.
any casualties!
The Raptors turn their weapons
Oh.
on the humans.
Engaging!
Resounding blasts of gunfire can be heard.
Protect the humans.
They're being swarmed! Cover me! Wait! You'll die! I'm scared.
For the greater good.
Get down! Get down!
Oh!
Nikkes jump in front of humans to shield them, and are mercilessly gunned down.
Miss, are you okay? I'm fine. Are you both safe?
Oh
People
damn.
frantically cower behind Nikkes, grasping onto their legs and begging.
Medic!
The Rapture's lasers vaporize them all with impunity.
Let go of me! Please, help me. Get away from me!
One Nikke panics, pushing away a human clinging to her as she
Oh.
runs away.
Come on.
One
Oh.
human grabs a weapon that's been left on the ground and fires at a Rapture.
Stay away from us!
The overwhelming kickback is too much, however, and she ends
gun.
up shooting herself.
Oh.
Still alive. Get them to
The
the
Nikke
hospital.
weapons are too strong for humans.
Another Nikke runs off, carrying a bloody human corpse in her arms. A father rips a helmet off a fallen Nikke and puts it on his child. A man holds tightly onto his lover's hand as they sprint as fast as their legs will carry them. One Nikke kicks away the hand of those reaching out to her as they die. An old man passes weapons and bullets to a Nikke. A Nikke and a mother embrace a child, blocking
Teamwork
her
time.
from the barrage of gunfire. It's hell on Earth. Some protect each other, others push each other away.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is
Depends
pinned
on
down,
who you are.
unable to escape. Hell has come to the Ark. Seeing all this, rightfully so, the commander's emotions are at an all-time high. He screams out to Exotic for what they'd done, swaying Uni onto their side. Crow lets out a sigh of relief. It had finally happened. An event that would show the citizens of the Ark
Black
the
Swan
Raptures
event.
firsthand. Now, the citizens of the Ark and the Nikkes
Damn.
will be able to choose their own fate.
Oh,
Will they be
man.
selfish or selfless?
What will
This
happen?
being the exact reality that Crow wanted. Once more, Crow taunts the commander, asking what he'll do once he captures them. Before the commander can respond,
You're under
Crow
arrest.
gives two ultimatums: either forgive or kill them. The commander leaves Crow with a fitting response. Their faith lies within the judgment of the Ark. By this point, the commander, and myself quite frankly, are done listening with the constant rambling of a deranged lunatic. He can feel something in his pocket and recalls that Neon had slipped something there before he had passed out. He has a hunch as to what it is, deciding to trust Neon's intuition. With this newfound ace up his sleeve, he begins rocking the chair that he's in, a desperate attempt to fall to his side, activating the smoke bomb. Viper taunts that the commander can't break out of these restraints, but that was never his plan to begin with. Impacting the ground, the commander's chest heats up as plumes of smoke begin to fill the room. The commander then throws his own retort Viper's way, saying they should have fixed the window as trails of smoke start to seep out from the room that he's in. It's a long shot, but the commander hopes that
Genius.
counters will see the smoke coming from the building. However, it isn't the counters who come to the commander's aid this time. The window near the commander shatters
Oh,
as two figures
interesting.
emerge from the smoke.
I didn't
One
expect
commanding
these
the
two.
group to stop. Time stands still as Guillotine and Maiden, Ingrid's aces, enter the room. Maiden's secret power is Kotodama, an ability to force her users to obey her command. Swiftly, Guillotine and Maiden untie the commander, with Maiden instructing him to leave Exotic to them. She wants the commander to deal with the panic that has spread throughout the Ark. Jacko suddenly interrupts the conversation, saying Maiden must be the one Crow had told her about. To Extrinsic's shock, Jacko can still move, and she wastes no time lunging forward, kicking Maiden back into a wall. Jacko has successfully defeated Maiden, resulting in Viper and Crow being released from her command. Now it's a 3 against 1. Guillotine, astonished, demands to know if Jacko's hearing sensors had been disabled, and how Exotic had known about them to begin with. As a small refresher, Extrinsic is an extremely well-kept secret in Elysian, only known by a few of their members. Crow confirms that Jacko's hearing sensors are off, and conveniently, she can't remember where she got an intel on Extrinsic from. Using this chance to escape, Viper and Crow take off, leaving Jacko to deal with Guillotine. Jacko, thinking this is all just a game, urges Guillotine to play with her, and Guillotine instructs the commander to get a move on. Escaping onto the streets, the commander is at the center of absolute pandemonium. The ground is littered with corpses of slaughtered humans and Nikkes. As the commander takes in the horrific scene around him, he hears several voices call out to him. It's Counters, finally regrouping after their separation. Counters questions what happened to Exotic, but the commander informs them that he'll tell them all later. There's a more pressing matter that needs to be attended to. Taking control of a combat drone, the commander will provide suppressive fire, and hopes that the central government will act to soon aid the wounded and the fallen. Cutting back to Jacko and Guillotine, it would appear that Maiden is still unconscious. Guillotine and Jacko continue their one-on-one fight. To Jacko's surprise, Guillotine is not only fast, but incredibly strong. One of the strongest Jacko's faced so far. Guillotine slowly gains the upper hand, eventually revealing her hidden power to Jacko, Lethal Eye. Removing her eye patch, a crimson-red eye glares directly at Jacko. She collapses to the floor, gripping her chest. Guillotine's hidden power, Lethal Eye, has the ability to control all energy that she sees. At the moment, Guillotine is scattering all of the energy in Jacko's core into the air. For those of you unaware, a Nikke's core is what a heart is to humans. Therefore, Guillotine was actively stopping Jacko's heart. With a painful cry, Jacko calls out to the commander, collapsing to the ground. As Maiden regains consciousness, they apprehend Jacko, informing their contact that they've secured one of Exotic's members. Maiden is a bit worried about failing their mission, not taking into account Exotic's disabling Jacko's hearing sensors. Even so, Extrinsic, the Grim Reapers of the Ark, have brought one of the 3 criminals down. With Jacko captured, only Crow and Viper remain. Cutting back to the pandemonium outside, the Counters have successfully dispatched several Raptures in the area. Despite this, they are still outnumbered as Lord-class Raptures begin emitting a call signal. Swiftly, Counters take down the Lord-class before it can call in for reinforcements, and with the sound of gunfire subsiding, it is replaced with the agonizing wails and cries of the injured. The area is in complete disarray. There are far too many wounded to take back to the medical facility alone. The commander begins pondering on the best course of action when his phone begins to ring. Surprised, believing Viper had taken his phone, he pulls it out to see Diesel's name on the screen. Relieved, the commander answers the phone as Diesel informs him of their next move. Infinity Rail will be making their way to his location and assist in the collection and transport of the wounded. The AZX will be making their way there, and Diesel tells him to sit tight for now. Seeing as the Counters still had a wide area to search for survivors, the commander tries to get up, but stumbles shortly after. He's clearly injured and exhausted from the fight. Seeing this, Counters volunteer to round up remaining survivors and gather them while the commander recuperates. As the commander takes a seat and rests, a familiar voice crosses his path. The one who had sounded the broadcast. Uni. Uni asked if the commander had brought a present for her. Puzzled, the commander asks what she means, and Uni's reply is that he'd bring her some Vapaus so she can enact her revenge. Uni, once more, asks the commander if he'll save her, just like he had saved Matisse before. To Uni, the commander will do just that. That's the kind of person that he is. Slowly, the commander realizes the gravity of the situation. He had heard Uni earlier on the broadcast. She had led countless innocent people to their death. The commander starts bombarding Uni with various questions on why she did what she did to the shelter citizens. The commander, with his anger reaching its peak, demands to know why. Why did Uni lead countless people to their death? He demands Uni to look around her, the countless innocent victims this massacre created. Uni doesn't answer, but instead begins to frantically search his jacket for Vapaus. Upon retrieving it, she tells the commander she knew he'd bring it. Hauntingly enough, as the next scene transitions inside the AZX, we find out another grim detail. As Diesel announces their plan of action to aid the wounded, we see that another person had entered the train. The very same person that turned Infinity Rail into Nikke's was hiding in the shadows, ready to enact another scheme of her own. Meanwhile, Polly and Miranda, amidst all this chaos, have been doing their job of showing Dorothy around the Ark. As Polly states, Dorothy picked one heck of a day to drop by. Dorothy remarks how the Ark is no different from the surface, desolate and teeming with raptures. Of course, this isn't an ordinary occurrence, as Polly points out to her. Walking around the Ark, Dorothy can't help but take in the scenery around her. As they continue, Dorothy notices a statue in the distance. She asks what it is, and Polly informs her that it's called the Goddess of Victory. Dorothy, puzzled, asks why these statues were erected. Polly explains that it's due to the fact that Goddess was the savior of mankind. Polly continues, stating the Goddess Squad and their legends. The best Nikke squad there ever was. According to the Ark's recount, Goddess volunteered to stay on the surface and fight till the bitter end, all to ensure mankind's safety. Although the Goddess Squad is infamous, a lot of data from that time has been lost to history. Polly explains there was one person who proactively spread the gospel of the Goddess Squad. However, since that person had passed, information had been dwindling with each passing day. The identity of this person remains a mystery, which puzzles Dorothy upon requesting it. To many of us in the Nikke lore circles, we believe this person could be Oswald, the one member who spread the word of Goddess even after the Ark had locked them out. Through Red Ash, we see how highly Oswald regarded the Goddess Squad, closely following all their triumphant victories that he was lucky enough to witness. Although a seemingly evil character, Oswald will be more complex as the story progresses. Our final scene in this rollercoaster of a chapter is with the Big Three and Birmingham. They're devising a plan of action and briefing everything they know up until this point. Although casualties were initially prevented, with the newest shelter slaughters, that's all changed. Ingrid, Birmingham, and Mustang all seem shocked about this situation. Suan, on the other hand, states they need to apprehend whoever broadcasted the alert to the shelters. With all the chaos that's happening, Birmingham feels regret for sending the counters out over what he would deem as more capable bodies to track Exotic down. Despite this, Ingrid and Mustang retort that with everything happening in the Ark, their resources are spread incredibly thin, and thus the commander was their best and most reliable option. A bit of back and forth ensues as Birmingham tries to grasp the weight of the situation. When he eventually does, he lashes out at Suan, asking her why she can't handle her Nikkes. Birmingham also remarks that if Anderson were here, things would be going much smoother in their meeting.
Absolutely would.
One thing is clear in the group. Crow's plan had undoubtedly succeeded. Through this chaos and carnage, the Ark had realized one thing. They've seen firsthand the destruction the Raptures can cause. With every able body in the Ark fighting to regain control, there's one thing left for the counters to do. To find and capture the remaining members of Exotic. And that's all the events of Chapter 23.
Oh,
a true roller coaster of a chapter.
You're telling me.
As I stated before, chapters 22 to 24 are some of the most dense chapters we'll cover in this series.
I see.
What was your favorite part of Chapter 23? And what shocked you the most? Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all in the next video. Jane.
Alright. So chapter 23. Honestly, man, chapter 23, it's like every time we get closer, something else happens. But I'm interested to see this Oswald character specifically, right? To hear that there was somebody there with Goddess watching all of their stuff go down and even helping them to an extent, right? What made him turn to the supposed dark side, right? Maybe he's working in the dark to serve the light. I'm not too sure, but we'll see on the next episode of NIKKE Goddess of Victory. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. I'm also streaming this live. I'm not sure how often I'll do these lives, but I think it's fun. A lot of people showed up, and we're still gonna keep going. Excuse me. I just need to take a quick break. So live, we're still going, but thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Comment, rate, subscribe, join the Discord, drop your links down below, and I'll be checking them out. Peace. All right, episode number 24, or chapter 24 of NIKKE. Let's go ahead and check this out. We are live on YouTube checking out NIKKE. So let's go ahead and get this started. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you guys. You're awesome. Let's go.
Apologize for the heavy delay in these chapters, as they're the most
don't worry about it, brother.
the entire story thus far. I want to make sure that my summaries are as cohesive as possible, and I thank you all for waiting. As always, before we begin, a big thanks to my channel
Shout out to the commanders.
and let's dive right into the conclusion of the Ark's invasion. We begin this chapter inside of the AZX, inbound towards Missilis's medical facilities. As the train makes haste to its destination, a broadcast begins to play on the screen. A report is being issued to the public, one that we know was altered from this chapter's lost relics. In order to reduce collateral, the media is displaying the dire situation as anything but. No casualties from NIKKEs or humans are being broadcasted. However, from the horrors of chapter 23, we all know that it's nothing but a lie.
That bad?
The victims of Uni's meddling, the survivors of the shelter incident, are scattered throughout the train's cabins. NIKKEs are still trying to assist the wounded. And amidst all of this, we find Crow silently observing the situation unfold. She locks eyes with a medical staff member before time seems to resume around her. Crow begins to listen to conversations happening throughout the train, whispers of civilians who'd encountered Raptures firsthand. Amidst these conversations, there's also people thanking NIKKEs for saving them. Though some NIKKEs abandoned those in need, others fought valiantly to save the helpless. Both NIKKE and human life was lost, and through this, those who were saved can see NIKKEs in a new light. Other conversations continue, some of rumors of this invasion being done by NIKKEs, to the mourning of countless commanders who died in the line of duty. We have to remember one important detail here. Despite NIKKEs being mostly machine, they still have human emotions. There's a NIKKE sobbing in the corner, the crushing realization that they stand no chance against the Raptures. A mental snap, one all too common in this story.
Man.
At the center of this pandemonium,
Going rogue.
Crow silently gets up, making her way towards the end of the cabin. Slipping into a vacant restroom, Crow locks the door and places a bomb in the corner of the stall.
Oh man.
Leaving the bomb behind, she passes through several of the train's cabins, a remote control now in her hand. Just like she did before, Crow intends to unleash true hell onto the Ark, and pressing the detonator, she intends to cause more chaos to these poor and innocent civilians. An explosion rings through the AZX. However, no damage can be visibly seen from the makeshift bomb. Fireproof paneling slides down around Crow as a door behind her flies open. Diesel and Solene leap into the fray, guns drawn. Infinity Rail had outfitted the AZX with several special upgrades to prevent this very scenario. Infinity Rail, all being the victims of a previous train bombing, had rigged the AZX to detect detonation signals like the one emitting from Crow's remote. This detector not only
They've been blown up
disables these
before,
frequencies, but can track them as well. This scene holds significant value in Diesel's character especially. Both Diesel and Celine begin to interrogate Crow, asking her to identify herself. Diesel especially seems to be completely off the rails. She's clearly angry, and for those of you unaware, it's for a very good reason. Celine, Brid, and Diesel are all victims of the AFX train bombing, the incident that claimed 500 innocent lives.
Oh, wow.
And for many that were able to, they were turned into Nikkes following this event. Celine was buried beneath the rubble, watching helplessly as people navigated around her to safety, left to perish from the crushing weight of debris and eventual suffocation. Brid was the conductor of the AFX, being at the forefront of the blast. Diesel, like Celine, was a passenger on the AFX. This incident not only took her life, but the life of her little brother too. Through Diesel's Bond story especially, we see how deeply these wounds have affected her. They cut deep, and even in modern day, she still cannot come to forgive those behind the bombing. Even subtleties with Diesel's character are a memorial to her brother's passing. The strawberry candies that she gives out to children of the Ark aren't meaningless whatsoever. They're a memento to her brother who enjoyed strawberry candies and trains dearly. Even her favorite item background and story sheds light on this event. The train set displayed in her favorite item background being the one that she had bought for her late brother. Needless to say, this situation was about to boil over, and Diesel was about to snap. Pressuring Crow further, she finally gives her smug response. Guilty as charged, she states. Time seems to stand still as a realization sets on Diesel's shoulders. The person responsible for the loss of life, for the bombing of the AFX, was standing right before them. The one who took her brother and her happiness. Bullets fly at Crow's feet as Diesel's rage is on full display.
Diesel!
So it was you. Damn you!
Oh man.
All those people. My brother.
Rage.
You're sick. You people, you all are. Every last one of you. All
And she
of
still
Elysium.
thinks she's right.
What are you talking about?
Every female who died in that attack was turned into a Nikke to work for the railway.
True.
If that's not in poor taste, I don't know what is.
But
You're all being duped and you don't even know it. They're using your own memories against you and making you their puppets.
Are you finished?
She don't care about none of that. Revenge.
Crow smugly replies that Diesel's inhibitor hasn't been turned off, so she can't enact this revenge. Even in the face of her victims, Crow shows no remorse, no inclination of any regret. As she walks forward, Diesel screams for Crow not to move. Pouring more salt in the wound, Crow tells Diesel how she can ricochet the bullet to kill her. She's trying to push Diesel over the edge, to force her to cross a line of no return, all in order to enact her revenge. As Crow taunts Diesel, she sharply asks if Crow thinks that she can't pull the trigger.
It won't
All
bring
these
them
years
back.
of nothing but longing to see her brother's face.
It won't bring them
Diesel's
back.
on the verge of a full mental collapse. She's about to cross a line of no return, something Crow gladly would guide her to do.
Yeah, I bet.
Crow continues to taunt Diesel. Perhaps this was her first time shooting someone. She tries to push Diesel closer to the edge, to abandon her morals and ideals, in exchange for gaining closure for the years of hurt she'd encountered. Crow continues to guide her on how to shoot to kill, and Diesel thanks Crow for the tips as she raises a barrel to open fire. Before she can fire, Celine grabs Diesel's gun. Brid had reported the incident so they can't open fire. Celine begs Diesel to not go through with this action. However, it's not that black and white for Diesel.
More great.
She's still struggling internally, blinded by her rage to kill Crow. Diesel tells Celine not to stop her, that she has the right to her
Let
revenge.
her choose.
Revenge for all those who perish in the AFX bomb.
Let her choose.
Celine reminds Diesel that NIKKE's abilities are determined by the aspirations of their previous life, and none of Infinity Rail became NIKKE's for the sake of revenge.
Britt drives the train, you handle the management aspects, and I tend to the passengers. That's what we're good at. Making our passengers feel comfortable and safe is what we do best. That's what we dream of. Not revenge. So please,
Know the
don't
way.
shoot. If
Know
you
the
pull
way.
that trigger, there's no going back. Every time you see AZX, all you'll ever remember is killing this woman.
Celine.
Remember the dream.
If you're not going to pull the trigger,
So Pro gets away.
then may I be excused?
Bro,
You
Pro
two are
just
re-
leaves.
Shut up.
Read.
Not another word. Just leave. Don't ever let me see you near this train again.
As you wish.
As you wish. Oh, brother. Bro, it's something else.
Celine, I
wanted to do it too.
And she still gets away. To cause more chaos.
I was scared. I couldn't do it. Not only was I scared to shoot, I was scared that you'd do it as well. That's why I stopped you. Diesel, did I do the right thing?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Who's
Celine.
to say?
As Crow reconvenes with Viper, she can tell that Crow is a bit
What's
agitated.
good? What's right?
Evidently, they'd hit a small roadblock in their plan, something that is clear from Crow's expression. The two are relying on Jackal to follow through with their orders. If she had, Crow states, she'd be dead by now. Like I've stated previously, Jackal doesn't fully grasp the veracity of this situation. She's simply following orders.
Just
A pawn Crow can sacrifice at any given moment.
literally.
With this, Crow and Viper disappear into the crowd, disembarking from the AZX, inbound for the Missilus Medical Facility. Fast forwarding to present time, Diesel is briefing the commander on everything that just transpired, Crow having knowledge of the AZX destination, and the possibility that she had infiltrated the medical facility. Diesel knows Crow wouldn't just waltz in through the front doors, and informs the commander on the interior of the massive medical facility. After relaying this information, Diesel also informs the commander that she couldn't shoot Crow. Despite her rage, she couldn't bring herself to do it.
Didn't cross
To the
line.
commander, this is reassuring news.
That's good.
If Diesel had
Yeah.
gone through it, just as Celine had told her, she would have lost a part of herself that she could never get back.
Ever.
Diesel then reassures the group that there is no safer place in the Ark than the medical facility right now. Just like the AZX is equipped with the same technology used to prevent Crow from detonating any explosives. Crow must have something planned though if she used the AZX to expedite her trip there. The commander reassures Diesel, telling her to leave the rest to them. As communications end, the commander attempts to rationalize the situation. As counters regroup with the commander, they recall the events they just experienced.
Stay
A
rational.
small nuance here is the mentioning of Uni knocking the commander out, which in the EN translation isn't brought up until this point. But regardless, I digress. Anit states that Uni had gone haywire, and the commander states that they need to regroup and contact Ingrid and Mustang. While they're doing that, the commander will attempt to contact Suan. As Counters attempts to patch through with Ingrid and Mustang, the commander informs Suan of Uni's actions, her being responsible for the false rumor broadcast. Of course, Suan, being as dense as bromine, completely ignores everything the commander is saying. She sees that the commander is trying to bury her, and before we continue, let's really ask ourselves, what benefit does the commander have in doing this? Countless people have died in the Ark in this sense of panic. For once, I wish
Yes.
Suan would listen and not act her size. She doesn't give the commander a single chance to breathe, believing he's fabricating all this information to slam the final nail in the company's coffin. Before the commander can even get a warning, Suan informs him that she'll be blocking his number.
Oh,
A
okay,
truly
so
high school
mature.
level approach in a situation where human and NIKKE lives are being lost. Frantic, the commander tries to type a message warning Suan of Crow's movements to the medical facility.
You've been blocked.
But lo and behold, the
Block.
brat beats him to the punch. As the communication with the pint-sized brat ends, Anise expresses her disdain for Suan's rashness. There is no time to waste though. The group needs to make their way to the medical center as soon as possible. It's their best chance to catch Crow and Viper, ending this manhunt once and for all. Making their way to the medical facilities, the commander tries to make sense of the current situation. Suan is unaware of Uni and Exotic working together. Their conversation also confirmed that Suan didn't order Uni to take his Vop house. Recalling all that transpired, Crow wanted to see the Ark make a choice. That much proves to be true. If this already had been satisfied, then why try to blow up the AZX? And why is Crow heading for the missless medical facility? Is she simply
Crow
buying
has
time?
alternative motives.
If this were the case, then Viper wouldn't have commented about them being caught too soon. The commander is perplexed, trying to dissect the situation further. If the AZX had been destroyed, it would leave the medical center vulnerable as all manpower would be focused around the injured at the blast site. But why? Why divert all that attention? That's when it all hits him. Uni was ordered to capture Crow by Suan. However, she's unaware of Uni's involvement with Exotic. Capturing Crow in a secluded location would prove ideal, and thus, Uni will tell Suan that she apprehended Crow at the medical facility. Using this, she could wipe the slate clean of any damning evidence, all without the watchful eye of the public and from the media. It's just a hunch, but the commander thinks he knows Crow's next target, the one and only brat CEO of Missless, Suan.
Huh. So this is very interesting.
With counters attempting to intercept Crow, we once more find ourselves in the Outer Rim. At the partition between the Ark and the Outer Rim,
This is very interesting.
Moran is still fighting against Dobon and his troops. Moran is taking the mass-produced NIKKEs one by one, and Jin is surprised by her swiftness in taking them down, shocked that Dobon would face Moran like this himself. Dobon is a very prideful man, and Moran knew that he would never turn down a chance to face her in a head-to-head battle. Jin is surprised by this, thinking Dobon would be a weasel and use any method to secure a victory. Even though she's outnumbered, Moran tells Jin to put faith in her as she continues the fight. She doesn't want to rely on anyone's strength but her own. As long as Moran holds her ground, she should be able to persevere, not only defeating Dobon's NIKKEs, but also striking a major blow to his ego as well. Dobon starts to scream at his troops, flying insults of every variety. How can an army of mass-produced NIKKEs be bested by a mere street urchin? Dobon continues to bitch about his reinforcements taking too long to arrive. However, he's informed that they've lost contact with that group. Sadly for Dobon, Rosanna had a fun target practice session with the little group of reinforcements that he called on. At his wits' ends, Dobon orders his troops to attack simultaneously, giving them permission to use their weaponry. Even though Dobon's reinforcements were scrapped, the same can't be said for Moran's. Jin, being her intel man, has already ordered reinforcements to assist her. Even though Jin can't fight, he'll do her one better: send capable members who can. A single shot rings out from behind Dobon as Rosanna and her subordinates enter the fray. Rosanna comments on how easy Dobon's
This is the perfect music.
were.
This is definitely some cowboy
Just as
shit.
another voice rings out. It's Sakura, saying that they shouldn't kick Dobon when he's down, pitying the pathetic deputy chief lapdog as she approaches. Dobon is disgusted as Underworld Queen's full presence comes before him. And needless to say, the feeling is mutual. Underworld Queen is livid at Dobon for using the Rapture invasion to meet his own ends. He used this pandemonium to seize the opportunity to deploy his troops on his own self-interest. What Dobon is doing right now is tantamount to a massacre. abandoning his post to protect the people in order to dispose of the Outer Rim instead. Sakura then reminds Dobon of one simple fact: the Outer Rim is their turf, and before Dobon does anything, he needs to ask their permission. Seeing as Dobon ignored this point, Sakura comments that they would have to be a bit more forceful with reminding him. With this, Dobon orders his troops to advance, and Rosanna gives her consigliere the word to crush Dobon's troops. As Underworld Queen and Dobon's men clash, we then cut to the rehabilitation center. Jackal, having been apprehended previously, had just gone through a brain scan. Any damning evidence that could implicate Jackal would be used against her and aid them in uncovering Exotic's next move. Although Jackal did chew through the metal wires in the elevator and engage in combat with Exotic, she was at no point aware of a greater plot. The only notable word uncovered through the brain scan was fireworks, which in this case is the literal definition. Though Ingrid thinks that it could be mind control, the actual answer is just as I've been stating. Jackal thinks this is all merely a game. And I mean a game by the literal definition. A fun time to be had with the commander and counters. The duo agree that Jackal is simply a blank canvas, and unfortunately, it was Crow and Viper who were the first to paint upon it. Ingrid also informs Mustang of the events that transpired in Chapter 16, and Jackal's involvement with leaving the commander for dead on the surface. This initially shocks Mustang, not having heard about this event up until now. Mustang also informs Ingrid of the movements of Viper and Crow, the likelihood of them making their way out to the mistless medical facilities. Hearing Crow and Viper, Jackal perks up. She asks about the whereabouts of the final two members of Exotic. Ingrid is astonished that Jackal can speak so closely after a brain scan had been conducted. Jackal states that Crow and Viper were not caught, Ingrid's silence only confirming this thought.
Those two left you to die.
It's okay. I'm not much of a thinker, so I can't really help in that department. Captain and Viper both hung around and played with me, which is all I can really ask for.
If you want to dive a little bit deeper into Jackal's character, I highly recommend that you play through her Bond story. Not all villains are created evil, and for Jackal's situation, I would say that the circumstances made her the way that she is now. She's honestly not a bad character, just unfortunately swayed by evildoers in the arc. Just as the conversation is about to wrap up, Ingrid gets a call from Rappy confirming their suspicions. Crow had snuck into the medical facility, but also that Crow and Uni were working together. She also tells Ingrid that Uni is most likely the perpetrator behind the shelter broadcast as well. With this information in hand, Counters, Ingrid, and Mustang make quick haste to shut down Crow's plan. Just as the commander had predicted, Uni informs Suan that she's captured Crow, and wasting no time, Suan makes her way to the medical facility, shocked and surprised by this sudden good news. The mistless medical facility is swarming with activity. Humans and Nikkes are all seeking help, causing a mass wave of confusion. As Counters make their way in, Rappy informs the commander that she made contact with Ingrid. The group also learns that the commander can't get into—
Yo, shout out to Magnet. Join the Discord, link down below. Join the Discord. It's lit. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to Magnet.
Contact with Suan. Evidently, she still hadn't blocked,
hit the like button.
He's not picking up. Knowing Crow and Uni's intention, Rappy suggests searching for Wardress and Exotic. They are planning to intercept them before Suan falls right into their hands. As the commander is about to split up and plans to reconvene at a later time, he suddenly gets a text from Miara. Her text message is simple: Director's office. The weight of the situation fully falls on the commander's shoulders, as Counters make haste
This is very
to the
common.
medical facility's director's office. In the director's office, Uni, Miara, and Suan all stand in silence.
Here we go.
Suan asks if this is some Crow joke. It is obvious
Let's
that Crow
see what
wasn't there.
happens.
Uni states that Suan is early, and Suan is quick to snap back that she came as fast as she could. She asks once more where Viper and Crow are, and Uni tells her that they are not there yet, but nearby.
Suan, ignoring all the red flags being flown at her face,
Whole
goes
stop
along
signs.
with this very ominous statement. Suan pulls out her phone, and to Yuni's surprise, she can still modify the parameters of Exotic's bombs. She's not doing it on a missless channel, but Suan states that she can cover it up later. The bomb is set to detonate once Exotic is in a 1 kilometer radius of her phone, and just as Suan is about to finish tweaking the app, she suddenly loses sensation in her hand. Puzzled, she asks Yuni if she had blocked her senses. Yuni confirms that if Suan presses that button, Crow and Viper will die. Yuni falls silent as we hear another cracking sound. The room suddenly goes black for Suan. She had lost all sight and angrily yells at Yuni.
She's been
Despite
suppressed.
all the wrongdoing that Suan's done in the story, what follows, once more at the hands of Yuni, is truly disturbing.
Yuni!
Did she get punched?
What are you doing? Suan, why are you doing this to us?
She used the
Why
Vav
do you
House?
always treat us so poorly? Why do you call us scrap metal? Why do you swear and yell? Why? You crazy hunk of junk! Have you lost your mind? I'll personally see to it that you're disposed of!
Blah, blah, blah.
Yuni, stop!
Miara,
Stop. You mustn't go too far.
Amidst this brutality, Miara tells Yuni to stop. For a brief moment, Yuni comes back to her senses, repeating Mihara's name. Just like Celine with Diesel, Miara tells Yuni that she can't go too far. Mihara understands how Yuni feels and insists that they can talk this out. Yuni had already made her point, and more needless violence was not necessary.
True.
Yuni's response is cold and simple. This was not her Mihara.
you're not Mihara.
Wait, what?
What?
Huh?
The real Mihara would always be on my side.
Oh.
She would understand me.
Oh,
Huh.
yikes.
I may not remember everything, Yuni, but I remember what kind of person you are. You're kind. You wouldn't hurt anyone. So please, stop this.
You don't remember anything! How can you say you know me? You're an imposter! You're not Mihara! The real Mihara is dead!
Imposter.
You're not her! Suan killed her!
Whoa. Oh. And then turned her into a NIKKE.
Suan must die! 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 I said die!
Yuni, amidst all this, realizes something very simple.
Wow.
She can't do it. She can't go through with it. Despite this, the commander gave her something that can overcome that.
Yeah.
Just as she's about to continue, the commander bursts in, right on time to save Suan from this brutal death. The commander and counters are horrified at the scene before them. Suan is lying on the ground, beaten to a pulp, and Yuni is the sole perpetrator. Yuni is puzzled that the commander is there, but comes to her diluted conclusion that he's also there to kill Suan too. Suan had made him suffer a lot, and Yuni tells the commander that she is there for him. She had made it possible for her not to be able to move or see. She hauntingly states that they can
She
kill
wants the
Suan
commander to do
together.
it. No way.
Rappy, weapon drawn, tells the commander that
Absolutely
she has
not.
a clear shot. However, the commander tells Rappy to wait. The commander looks to Yuni and tells her to stop. She's puzzled and asks why. Why is everyone telling her to stop? She always has to be the one to listen to others' orders. Her anger is finally beginning to boil over. Amidst all this, the commander vows to make sure Suan is delivered to justice and that he'll seek out help for Yuni. He'll do everything he can to ensure that. With a
Okay.
light chuckle, Yuni tells the commander that he's repeating himself again. The words that he spoke in Chapter 4 were a promise to Yuni, one that he couldn't keep. Mihara had her memories wiped and Wardress was ultimately discarded by Suan, seeing them as nothing but failures. As the commander continues to plead with her, Uni shoots herself with the Vop House bullet.
Uh-oh.
Hauntingly,
So let's
Uni
see what
begins
happens.
to giggle as she states that her head has never been clearer. She feels like she can do anything, and with a sense of freedom,
Good.
Uni then says that she'll kill both of them, Suan
Oh,
and the commander.
she's
Seeing
crazy,
that talking
crazy.
is no longer an option, the commander gives the order to
Engage.
apprehend Uni. This order comes far too late though. Uni is able to block every single sensation in each of their bodies. Due to the high potency of Vop House, the effects are much stronger on the user. The commander's
got a
vision
Rinnegan.
begins to get blurry and his legs fall weak. The counters collapse to the ground in a heap. The commander is unable to move or even speak at this point. His body refuses to move. All the while, Uni is delighted to be able to block this many senses all at once. Uni proceeds to continue
She's OP.
beating Suan. However,
man.
this time, something doesn't seem right. Suan isn't feeling any pain. Infuriated, Uni looks to Miara, who had swapped senses with Suan. This enrages Uni, who once more calls Miara an imposter. She taunts Miara, saying she knows that it can only last for 10 minutes. Pulling out a gun, she points it at Suan, ready to end the source of her suffering.
Suan. Say goodnight.
Is this game over?
Uni!
My head! My head! It hurts! Help! Someone please!
She shot Miara.
Miara! Miara! Why did you protect Suan? Why? Miara! Tell me! Tell me, Miara, why? What? What? Miara! Blood! Your head is bleeding! Who did this? Get it out! Get it out of me! Miara!
What
Get up,
in
Miara.
the world?
Miara! Be quiet!
Oh, man.
Amidst this pandemonium,
Tranked her ass.
the real mastermind appears. Crow had just shot Uni, holstering the weapon she used to do the job. Crow had given Uni a chance to kill Suan, yet Uni seemingly didn't have the guts to go through with it.
She failed.
Crow, completely disregarding the commander, counters, war dress, and Suan's current situation, applauds the commander for finding this place so swiftly. Despite his quick deduction, it won't matter in the end though. He failed to change anything. Crow reveals that Suan was a simple side quest in all of this, a footnote, and begins to tell the commander her true intentions. She wants to see the commander fall. The commander is too much of a hero, and can solve everything and still come out smelling like roses. He's a natural born winner, and Crow tells him that she's actually quite fond of him. In a twisted way,
That's
Crow
interesting.
even respects him. It's his connection to the Ark that Crow has an issue with, and because of
Okay.
that, the commander needs to be brought down. She continues saying that he is no different from a NIKKE. He follows orders blindly and would sacrifice anything for the Ark's sake. Evidently, Crow missed my summary in chapter 13 and 14 because it seemed like the entire Ark was on his ass. Thanks
For
to the
real.
Rapture invasion, NIKKEs and humans will see each other differently now. Crow is pleased with this outcome, but irritated at how much meddling the commander had done along the way. He is an intermediary between NIKKEs and humans, and due to this, there was a high chance any situation, this one included, will be resolved as if there was nothing wrong in the first place. That is dangerous to a person like Crow, one who wanted to instill true chaos and fear into the people. The commander's influence and reach is far more powerful than he's capable of understanding. So, if the commander is the key problem for Exotic, what should their solution be? It's simple: to bring the commander down to the dregs. make him no different from the rest of the Ark's filth. Crow's knocking the commander down a few pegs. 3 gunshots ring out before silence fills the air once more. The commander, still unable to see, wonders what Crow had just done. He was not hit himself, but heard 3 gunshots regardless. 3 gunshots for 3 NIKKEs, the counters. Crow states that the conclusion to knocking the commander down is for him to kill NIKKEs with his own hands. Crow wonders what will happen to the commander in the moments of his downfall. Once he crosses that line, he will never be able to return. His hands will be stained with blood, permanently dirtied and unclean. Crow uses this leverage to tell the commander to hate her, kill her, and avenge those who fell by her hand. Using all his rage and strength, the commander yells out Crow's name, only to be met by laughter at the exclaim that the commander will kill her. She hopes those words hold true, and with the commander blinded and broken, Miara, Uni, and Suan lifeless, and the counters terminated, Crow bids the commander farewell. As Crow leaves the room with Viper in tow, the commander is able to stand and finds himself amidst the aftermath. Miara is lying on the ground, lifeless,
a bunch of insanity
and
going
so is
on.
Uni. Suan is convulsing violently, foaming at the mouth, and counters.
She got beat up.
Neon, Anise, Rappy are all motionless on the ground.
No way.
Seeing the horror firsthand, the commander goes against all of his morals. Time for talking is over. He has to find Crow and kill her. As Crow and Viper make their way through the halls of the medical facility, Viper asks Crow where they're headed. Crow tells her that they're heading to the surface because the commander will be following them up there. They need to put as much distance between them as possible in order to let the resentment in the commander build. Viper said they should go back for Jackal. However, Crow states that won't be necessary. Jackal knows they won't come for her. And as for Viper, as Crow states, who knows what will happen to her? Viper begins to question Crow's actions earlier. Was all this with Uni and the counters really necessary? This puzzles Crow, asking Viper what had gotten into her. It's unlike the sly snake of Exotic to have feelings of remorse like this. Viper feels faking a death would have been enough to send the commander over the edge. So why go so far as to actually kill pointlessly? Crow asks Viper if she's worried about what will happen to the commander, and Viper's response is she'd be lying if she said no. Even with her affiliation with Crow, it seems that the commander had melted the cold exterior of Exotic's snake. Crow tells Viper that she's been aware of her aiding the commander, seeing it as first her toying with him, but now she's starting to second guess herself. Viper feels that the commander has always tried to help them, no matter what devious act Exotic put him through. He always tried to see the good in them, saying he'd be on their side in order to ensure that they turn a new leaf. Even after all the things that Uni did, he still never gave up on her either. Crow had always viewed the commander as someone who'd spew honey words in order to gain everyone's affection. Viper, however, feels differently. She feels the commander is genuine. Viper states that this time, Crow went too far. Following this comes a revelation from Viper, the reasoning for her shift in character. Crow asks if Viper had fallen for the commander, and at first, she vehemently denies it. To her, honey is just a plaything that gives her a form of amusement, and once a toy breaks, it's no longer usable. Because of this, Viper took special care with the commander. Despite this response, Viper freezes in her place. No, that wasn't the right answer. To Viper, the real answer was now clear.
Yes. That's it. I've changed. It's been that way for a while now. That's why I can't stop thinking about him, and wanted to help him so badly. I guess I have fallen for him.
Another one joins the harem.
Only just now figuring this out.
It all made sense now. the shift in Viper's character, her sudden questioning of Crow's actions. She didn't just care for the commander, but was fond of him too. For Viper, this was the first time she truly fell in love with someone. She didn't want to put Honey in any more danger, and feels her time with this little scheme is over. She contemplates turning herself in so the central government can grant her leniency.
The government.
All Viper did was send a few
Yeah,
text messages.
good
Nothing
luck.
nearly as damning as Crow being the ringleader of this operation.
If you say so.
Finally, the venomous snake had poisoned herself. Viper fiddles with her phone as Crow continues to mock her. She thought Viper would put up more of a fight, and with the giggle, Viper asks Crow if she knows who she just sent a little text to. And before Crow can respond, a familiar face emerges. Once more, one seeking revenge.
Oh,
EH
let's
is
go,
understandably
best girl.
livid at Crow, not only for leaving her to die on the surface, but also for blasting a hole in the Ark. Even though EH was a leader of Heavenly Ascension and a well-known criminal, she never wanted to endanger innocent civilians. Crow, unfazed by all this, simply states that she's surprised EH has survived this long. Crow flippantly states that she's happy to see EH alive and kicking, but judging by her injuries, she'll probably roll over and die at any moment.
Damn.
EH has had enough of Crow's bullshit and demands to know why she executed this plan. Crow declines to elaborate, simply giving EH the cold shoulder. Thanks to Crow, the entire Outer Rim was about to be exterminated, and half of the Ark lay in ruin. Crow's set of responses to EH here don't even need to be summarized. Just know it's implied that she could give two flying fucks about the deceased. Crow always intended
For
to
real.
betray EH, and her
Crow is
loyalty was
something
never
else,
under
man.
Heavenly Ascension. Even though EH once saw Crow as a comrade, ironically, all Crow can see people as are tools to push her own agenda. The very
Absolutely.
thing that she accused the commander of being is what Crow herself was. Someone who uses and discards people as she pleases. Putting
She was
aside their differences for the
projecting.
time being, Viper offers to help EH. The two gang up on Crow. However, EH's injuries are still too drastic for her to fight at full capacity. Crow keeps taunting her, saying all they have to do is wait a little longer and she'll roll over and croak. Before that happens, EH is fully intent on killing Crow with her own hands. Ark troops will descend on their location soon, seeing as they dispatch most of the wandering Raptures in the Ark.
Oh,
Knowing
nice.
this, Viper prepares a full surrender. Before EH can kill Crow,
Surrender.
someone else emerges. One that has the same hatred in his eyes for the mastermind of the Ark's invasion. It's the commander. And this
Okay.
time, his demeanor is cold, and his eyes ablaze with anger. Viper happily approaches the commander, relieved that he had joined them.
Oh,
But
man.
this time,
He's
the
changed.
commander gives Viper the cold shoulder. Viper tries to get through to the commander, advising him not to kill Crow and instead turn her into the authorities. Even if
under
her
arrest.
intentions were pure in this instance, she's deceived the commander one too many times for him to trust her. She never does anything for free, and it's not different this time around either. She wants the commander to put a good word in for her and reduce the possible harsh judgment that she received by Enoch. The commander coldly
Wow.
asks Viper what scheme she's conducting this time, and Viper tries to tell him that there's no trick. She's willing to surrender and hand over Crow. This time, there's no deception, no deviation. But understandably, the commander can't come to accept that.
Can't trust her.
For the first time, we see the words sting Viper as the commander brushes her off. The venomous snake had finally felt the pain she'd inflicted on many before. The commander pushes her aside, and Viper locks arms with him. He can't kill Crow. He can't cross that line of no return. The commander simply tells her to let go. Even if she means well in this moment, the commander can't be too careful. If the commander's words didn't sting, his next response surely did. After he's done with Crow, Viper is next.
Oh,
The scene
snap.
then transitions to the hospital room. Ingrid is with Suan, who is recovering from the brutal beating that Uni had given her. Suan still isn't faring too well
Commander's
due to the sensory swap
changed.
between Miara and Suan. She has sustained a substantial injury when Uni has shot Miara in the head. It'll take some time for Suan to recover, and before she can regain mobility freely. Understandably, Suan is agitated, but her condition will only worsen if she stresses herself further. Ingrid informs Suan of their current situation, that the commander is chasing down Crow and Viper. As for Wardress, they have been taken to the repair center for the time being. Suan vents her frustration as she fumbles for her cell phone. With trembling hands, she opens the detonation app, but before she can activate it, Ingrid attempts to intercept her. Through the struggle, Suan cries out, realizing she had detonated the wrong caller.
Wait, what?
Back in the halls, Viper is still trying to plead with the commander, doing all she can to try and show him that she's sorry for everything she'd done. However, for Viper, it seems that her time had finally ran out.
Wait, this is...
Oh, man.
So, this is how it ends.
Oh, man.
You really are a good person, honey. Even now, you want to help. It would have been nice if I'd known someone like you earlier and recognized what I was feeling.
Oh, man.
Take care of Jackal. That big dummy needs someone to look after her.
For the first time in NIKKE's story, Viper appeared genuine, and of all times, it was in her last moments. The commander is frozen in his tracks, and Crow uses this opportunity to escape. EH is at the mercy of her injuries, and yells for the commander to stop Crow. With this, he sprints after her before she can reach the elevator. Not long after, the commander successfully intercepts Crow and a fight ensues. Being a NIKKE, the commander struggles to take Crow down. All the while, he's demanding to know why she did all of this. He points his gun to her, demanding an answer. She tells the commander that the reasoning is simple.
I told you, I want to see you fall from grace.
She wants you to be
and
the
I
bad
think
guy.
I've succeeded. You should see your face right now. How many times in your life have you ever made that expression before? I'm probably the first person to have ever seen it. That alone is the sweetest reward of all.
To the commander, the time for talking was over.
Oh, man.
Even if Crow was dealt a bad hand in life, she didn't have to resort to this just to get even with the world. Everyone has bad days and wants the world to burn. But ultimately, they don't act upon it. Most people are sane enough to realize the ramifications of one selfish action such as that.
Destroys
But for
everybody's
Crow,
life.
she's too far gone to realize the damage is done for her own personal gain. No one will mourn Crow when she's gone. Every single bridge had been burned by her own hand. She had nowhere to go, and no one to turn to. There's nothing left for Crow. Her sarcastic response is it's the same for the commander. Considering how she had just killed counters, he's just like her now. Someone with no purpose and no one left to turn to. The commander is fully intent on killing Crow. Any previous morals he stood by can be tossed into a burning fire. If it means cleansing the world of someone like her, the commander will gladly pull the trigger. Crow asks him if he's going to shoot her, and he replies, I am.
Then let me become your first. It's an honor.
A single gunshot rings out as Crow collapses to the ground. The round wasn't fired by the commander though. Puzzled, he hears a familiar voice behind him. It's Rappy. The commander is silent as Rappy tells him to drop his weapon.
You can't get
She
your
gently
hands dirty.
presses her hand against his, lowering his gun. With a gentle smile, Rappy is relieved that the commander is alive. The two, having subdued Crow with a suppression bullet, can finally breathe a sigh of relief. With his most loyal NIKKE at his side, The commander and Rappy make their way back to reconvene with the counters. Regrouping with counters back at the outpost, Neon recalls the events that happened between Rappy neutralizing Crow and counters returning to the outpost. The central government had conducted a brain scan on Crow, which verified her being the ringleader of this operation. In addition, it also confirmed that those affiliated were merely pawns Crow used to enact her scheme. Her punishment is still being decided, and due to her unique circumstances with Nymph, Ingrid had issued experiments to be conducted on her. Crow can seemingly control Nymph with her sheer will alone, and this, to Ingrid, requires further testing. These scans will be far from routine. They'll open up Crow's brain and dig as much as they need to in order to find whatever it is that they're looking for.
Oh, man.
After this, Enoch will lay judgment upon her. Hearing a satisfying end to Crow's capture, the commander then asks about Underworld Queen. We learn that Dobon had tried to pull the wool over Mustang's eyes. He still insisted that the invasion could have only come from the garbage heap that is the Outer Rim. He even states to have seen EH with his own eyes attempting to ascend the elevator with a bomb. Mustang asks if there's any evidence to back up these accusations. Despite Dobon's insistence, Mustang has another conclusion. Each and every member of the Outer Rim was unarmed, and due to this, Mustang fails to understand Dobon's reasoning for bringing an entire army over to eradicate them. To Mustang, it sounds like Dobon was in the process of conducting a massacre. And I want to stress here, Dobon does not deny this. He literally does not refute anything that Mustang is saying here. He simply snaps back, asking what Mustang would have done about it. To Dobon, he could have wiped the Outer Rim off the map, and Enoch wouldn't do so much as bat an eye. Mustang is quick to challenge this though.
That's crazy.
The only reason why Enoch hadn't stepped in is because she's fully aware that Underworld Queen can crush Dobon like an insect. To Mustang, Dobon is foolish for thinking the Outer Rim doesn't benefit the Ark in any way. Dobon thinks Mustang is just talking bullshit, but Mustang's cold response is basically to fuck around and find out. Let Dobon enact his plan and see what the ramifications are if he does so. Just like the chicken shit commander that he is, Dobon says that he doesn't feel like it right now. Due to the circumstances of Dobon storming the Outer Rim, he's indebted to Mustang now. In a sense, Underworld Queen also saved his ass from true punishment by Enoch. Anise states that Mustang did make some sacrifices as a result of this though. Due to Underworld Queen roughing up central government troops, they were scheduled for a mind wipe. However, Mustang made a deal with the Ark. In order to keep his queen's memories intact, he gave up Tetra's main broadcasting network to the Ark. Tetra Connect is one of the Ark's biggest breadwinners and a major source of income for Mustang.
What a trade.
Leon is worried about this, but Anise states that Mustang isn't too worried. After all, fighting up from the bottom is his specialty.
Yeah,
Next up,
he'll
the
get
group
rich
discusses
again.
Uni. She's in a catatonic
like
state
that
in the Ark's
mentality.
rehabilitation center.
I'll get rich
She's in
again.
solitary confinement and is
Absolutely.
refusing to speak. In addition, running a brain scan on her is now impossible due to her nymph being destroyed by Vophouse. As a result, the central government is at a complete loss. She won't be forgiven for the shelter incidents, rightfully so, and Uni will remain locked in confinement until the Ark can figure out what to do with her. As for Miara, things aren't faring too well for her either. The damage was extensive to her brain, and Miara was immediately sent to the repair center. Despite this, her nymph interfered with surgery, resulting in a memory wipe. Mihara's nymph was re-uploaded, and she should be recovering in the medical facilities as of now. It was seen that the dust had finally settled, and finally, everyone can breathe a sigh of relief. As for the reports for the cause of this event, Rappy informs the commander that the central government will attribute it to the deterioration due to the facility's aging.
They'll cover it
The
up.
public will think this nothing more than a freak accident, not something done by one of their own
crazy.
Nikke's.
Yeah, nah.
If word got out that this was a Nikke's doing, the central government's
that'd be
reputation would hit rock bottom.
Absolutely.
Ironically enough,
We gotta
due to
cover it
the
up.
invasion, popular opinion on Nikke's were at an all-time high. It has become more apparent how indispensable Nikke's are to protecting humanity, especially after Matisse's display on the surface and the valiant efforts of the Nikke's who tried to protect those in the shelters. We find out that Suan is also recovering in the ICU, and when she can walk again, she'll be judged by Enoch. For now, the group will have to wait to see what happens
Two
next.
punishments.
Through this exchange, we also learned that Rappy had used a bit of Red Hood's ability in order to get to the commander in time to stop him.
Nice.
Despite his irrational actions,
Yakuza.
Rappy can find forgiveness for him. It was a moment of high emotion, and she doesn't resent the commander for acting the way that he did. She's only happy that she was able to stop him before it was too late. With this, the group makes their way to Enoch's chamber. Back at the medical facility, Ingrid stands over the bed of a badly injured Elijah and Harper. It's clear that the two of them have known each other for some time. Evidently, EH isn't faring too well, and her time is swiftly running out. She has a mere 2 days left to live, according to Ingrid.
2
With this
days?
information,
Wow.
EH has a request for her. She wants to atone for what she had done during her time as a human, for all the fear people felt by her command. The guilt seems to be hitting her all at once, and there's only one thing that she seeks: redemption. She wants to become a NIKKE, and hearing this news, Ingrid vows to do what she can to make the necessary preparations for this to happen. So, Crow has been captured, and Viper is blown to bits. But
Becoming immortal.
what about Jackal? We find
To
her in the
atone.
Outer Rim, laughing alone. In a sad way, it's her form of coping with losing her friends. As she continues to mope, one of the biggest twists in this chapter plays out.
What's the fun of laughing alone?
Want me to join you then?
Ha 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 ha.
Viper!
Hey there, kiddo. How you holding
I'm
up?
confused. I thought she blew up.
You're okay! You're all put together again!
Apparently, the angle was off just a tad, and the brunt of the explosion missed my brain. Having said that, my head was completely blown to smithereens, so I had to get a new one made.
You're kidding! That's amazing!
Yeah, alright.
You bet it is. And it's all thanks to a special someone grasping at my collar. I
Oh,
owe him
okay.
my life. Now I like him even more.
Viper just seems happy that she could turn the situation around slightly. It's evident that the Outer Rim will be monitored more
W.
heavily, but they'll continue what they've always done with
W.
one small alteration. Viper states that this time, there will be no more lies or deception. With the venomous snake abandoning her fangs, the era of exotics meddling seems to be over, as a new chapter begins. Back in Enoch's chamber, the commander finally gets to hear his verdict. Due to the situation in the Ark, Enoch will have to make their meeting quick. Enoch goes over all the commander had done, from capturing Crow and resolving the situation with the shelter incident. In addition, he also aided in fending off Raptures in the Ark. Enoch
What a
issues
hero.
him a promotion of 3 ranks. However,
3.
this victory is very short-lived. The commander is also guilty of a few things, leading Raptures into the Ark in Chapter 18, and concealing the existence of Vaphaus. Due to this, his newly acquired 3 ranks will be revoked, leaving him as he was before.
Bro, that's crazy.
Before the commander departs, he poses a question to Enoch. The Ark sustained heavy damages. That much is true, but he wanted to know what the worst case scenario for the Ark would be. Enoch states that if 2 or more heretics breach the Ark, there is little to no chance of survival. Luckily, Dorothy was present when Nihilister entered, so they survived by the skin of their teeth this time around. The commander then asks for Dorothy's whereabouts, which Enoch cannot disclose. With this lackluster meeting, the commander encounters Exit Enoch's chamber. As we transition back to a briefing room, we are met with Birmingham and Dorothy. It is revealed that Dorothy had visited the Ark early, Birmingham having given her orders to come at a later date and use a secret elevator. Yes, there's just
Son,
a
more
one-off
secret
mention of a
elevators.
secret elevator leading to the Ark from the surface.
Really?
It was lucky timing that these citizens were in the shelter and hadn't been on the streets when Nihilister attacked. Birmingham feels that it would have caused unnecessary panic. Surprisingly, Dorothy came to the Ark for that exact reason, so humans could see her on full display. Seeing as the Ark was vastly empty, she was disappointed upon arrival. It would have been a spectacle for the citizens to behold in Dorothy's eyes.
She loves
Despite
her
Dorothy's
grandeur.
feelings, it's clear a lot of heads have turned towards her since entering the Ark, something Birmingham would have liked to prevent. She's appalled by this. After handing Nihilister over on a silver platter, this is how she's treated. If it wasn't for Dorothy stepping in, the Ark would have been burned to a crisp. Birmingham retorts, saying they could have handled themselves. Dorothy's arrival was so ostentatious that there's many hoops that he must jump through to get the situation under control. This makes no sense to Dorothy. What's the point of keeping everything under wraps? Birmingham states it's simply because he's scared. This confuses Dorothy further. Why fear her when the enemy is beyond the Ark? Birmingham states that if a pilgrim descended upon the Ark and declared war, it could cause pandemonium.
Absolutely.
Any suspicions towards her have been assuaged somewhat thanks to her taking down the Heretic. Yet he still doesn't know what she's after. Dorothy understands where he's coming from, and tells him that she would like to make a pact with the Ark and wants to be the ambassador of that pact. They should start off with something simple, and that is the sharing of their technology, resources, and manpower. In addition to this, Birmingham also receives a USB detailing Eden's optical camouflage technology. Before Dorothy leaves, Birmingham asks why of all times Dorothy chose to communicate with the Ark now. Eden had been radio silent for so long. Dorothy's response is that the time felt right, and a certain commander may have pushed her to finally pull the trigger. With this, Dorothy leaves to explore more of the Ark, accompanied by the ACPU. Back in the Ark, Polly and Miranda resume their duties acting as Dorothy's guide. The three reconvene and share some warm words upon meeting each other once again. Dorothy wants to go somewhere heavily populated, but unfortunately, that's impossible with the current circumstances.
Nobody's around.
Everyone is still waiting inside the shelters, and the doors will only be open once all Raptures are eliminated. According to Miranda, it'll be around 2 days before things will return to normal. Dejected, Dorothy then asks to visit MMR. Evidently, not all areas of MMR are off limits. The deepest recesses are top secret. However, the surface floors are open for general visitation. Without hesitation, Polly and Miranda lead Dorothy to MMR. Upon arriving, it's clear that Dorothy had a purpose for coming there. She remarks that this is a place where Cecil used to work. Yes, Cecil, the brilliant researcher who fled the Ark, who developed Eden's technology. She was once a researcher of MMR. Polly and Miranda give Dorothy a generic tour of the Ark's technology and experimental pieces. Walking around, Dorothy notices a tightly shut metal door. Polly informs her that the door leads to the deeper recesses of the facility, and that's where the Ark's core technology is stored. Due to this, access is only granted to a select few individuals. As the tour continues, something appears to be off with Polly and Miranda. While touring the second floor, Miranda becomes groggy as Polly feels a strange feeling wash over her. Before fainting, Polly advises Dorothy to get out of MMR. Even though this may seem like a scheme by Dorothy, trust me when I say this, it's anything but. Polly and Miranda aren't dead, but just unconscious. Something had depleted their energy, or had knocked them out in the air. Dorothy suddenly hears some buzzing noises as an arc of electricity flies by, the machines in MMR instantly losing all power. Dorothy quickly finds the culprit of the situation. The alpha particle concentration in the facility is through the roof. All circumstances say that this should not be the case. Dorothy decides to head back to the door leading to MMR's lower floors. The concentration of alpha particles near the door are enough to even make Dorothy lose motor control. Dorothy takes hold of the door, ripping it apart with her bare hands. As she enters the inner facility, it's quiet. Too quiet for Dorothy's liking.
Too quiet.
Dorothy sees several NIKKEs lying on the ground motionless. Whatever happened to Polly and Miranda seems to have affected them as well. She then stops in her tracks, seeing Nihilister in the center of the room. Beside her lay an Atlas cage that once contained her. Nihilister had melted it from the inside, the once inescapable prison now reduced to a puddle. Evidently, Nihilister had planned all of this. Her character, the
Are you serious? Oh
the
no!
imprisonment in the Atlas cage. As Nihilister continues her monologue,
Dorothy notices the
She's
twin
monologuing.
are gone.
Oh,
Nihilister's weapons are nowhere to be seen.
GG's.
Puzzled, Dorothy demands an explanation. Nihilister flippantly states that Dorothy is dumber than she looks, and before Dorothy can formulate a response, a sharp metallic pang rings through MMR. Tentacles spring forth from another Atlas cage. Nihilister states that she needed to feed them so they grow big and strong. Hauntingly, Enoch's worst case scenario was about to come true.
Oh, man.
Back in the outpost, Enoch is on the line with the commander, urging him to make his way to MMR immediately. There's a large amount of alpha particles emitting from deep inside of MMR, and it's impossible for Enoch to conduct any scans at the moment. The Ark is rallying its forces and dispatching them to MMR, and Enoch advises the commander and counters to rendezvous with them there. Rappy urges Enoch to tell the commander more, and Enoch states that the alpha particle concentration has only been this high a handful of times, one of which being an encounter they previously had with Indivilia. You may be wondering who that is, but we've met Indivilia in her Heretic form in Chapter 12 as Material H.
Yeah,
Absolute and Matisse had fought against Indivilia, and only by sheer chance did they survive the encounter. A lightning strike incapacitated Indivilia, allowing Absolute and Matisse to escape. As they withdrew, Indivilia attempted to heal herself, and making the same concentration of alpha particles that Enoch is reading from MMR now. According to Enoch, Nihilister's intention all along was to revive Indivilia. Seeing as that had come to pass, the worst case scenario in the Ark had come to fruition. Two heretics versus the last safe haven of humanity. As counters make their way downtown, Rappy confirms visual contact with Material H. The alpha particle concentration is through the roof. However, it shouldn't impede on their battle capabilities. Swiftly, the team locates Material H, and having fought it before, they have some confidence in this encounter. The area around them seems odd though, like Material H had changed the surroundings somewhat. Regardless, counters engage in battle, intending to defeat Material H before she can fully revive into Indivilia. Learning that Nihilister is busy fighting Dorothy, to the commander, it's a perfect time to take care of one of the problems and aid Dorothy after they regroup. After engaging in defeating Material H, counters are relieved that they were able to come out on top. Even with this victory, something doesn't seem right. Neon reminds the group that Enoch stated all forces will be meeting up with them, so where exactly were they? Rappy tells the commander to contact Enoch, but he gets no reply. As the team ponders their situation, the walls begin to crack and crumble around them. As the facade around them collapses, counters find themselves on the streets of the Ark. Counters had just fought an illusion of Material H, nothing but a mere distraction.
Let's go, gameplay.
As the team looks ahead of them, they see a NIKKE wearing what appears to be golden armor. The familiar sensation hits the commander like a truck. Malice incarnate, honed to a razor-sharp edge. The embodiment of pure evil. Making her first in-game appearance, Indivilia is quickly joined by Nihilister. Right before the commander lay the worst-case scenario, two heretics breaching the Ark. Evidently, Indivilia had feasted upon countless NIKKEs to ensure her revival.
Oh, man.
Remember, when Material H was first studied, it absorbed countless NIKKEs, breaking them down to only useful components. It didn't help that the Ark had dispatched a large quantity of NIKKEs to take care of Indivilia either, practically a buffet for her to fully regain her strength. Without warning, the group suddenly hears the wisp of an object flying through the air. Before the commander can even blink, Anise and Neon are bisected.
Oh,
it would appear that Indivilia had undergone a form of evolution with her revival.
Oh, great.
Surprised that she can wield a blade rather than a mere tentacle. The commander is in shock as Rappy tries to snap him out of it. Anise and Neon aren't dead so long as their brains remain whole. For now, they have to deal with the problem at hand. The two heretics who've invaded the Ark.
How are we gonna deal
The commander
with this?
patches through to Enoch to get any viable information. However, no such records exist on Indivilia. The best Enoch can do is dispatch Absolute and Matisse to their location. There's only one problem.
It would take them 20 minutes to get there on foot. Even if they did act
when they
as
showed
support,
up. No.
Enoch still cannot guarantee victory. There's only one player missing amongst this chaos, Dorothy. Enoch informs the commander that Dorothy has set up a sniper nest 1
What up,
kilometer
Vincent?
away.
Welcome in.
Just then, the commander hears a shot ring out, aimed at Nihilister
well.
and Indivilia.
Checking out
However,
It's getting
something
crazy.
would suddenly block Dorothy's shot.
Good to see you.
No way! Chatterbox, what the heck?
Meeting you in the Ark
Oh,
brings
brother.
back memories.
It just got worse again.
How are things? Have you been well?
Bro, what? Bro, we killed this guy a long time ago.
So sorry to disappoint you.
Oh, man.
Chatterbox had also emerged.
What is
those of you
this?
unaware,
Dragon Ball Z?
He was being kept in MMR following the events of Chapter 13. Upon Snow White defeating him, the Ark had placed
Chapter
him under
13.
lock and key.
It's chapter
Chatterbox
24
decides
now.
to get chummy with the commander, but before he can get too close, Dorothy lands beside him. It's a 3-on-3 battle, the fate of the entire Ark hanging in the balance. Dorothy tells Rappy to cover her while she buys them some time, but Rappy has another idea. She tells Dorothy to cover her instead. Patching through to Enoch, Rappy asks for the
Okay.
nearest location of an ejection
Let's see what
elevator.
happens.
Enoch advises against this plan, but at this point, they're out of options. It's possible for this plan to succeed. Rappy tells the commander that he'll need to find her once this is all over. And with that, Rappy unleashes her trump card.
Inputting liberation code.
Liberation
Operating
code.
level increasing to limit of sub-generator. Secret body. Activate!
Secret body.
Recognition complete.
What? Recognition
Code
complete.
name, Red Hood.
I knew it.
Fully active.
She was the pilgrim
10
the whole
minutes
time.
remaining. After that, control must be transferred to another host.
More than enough time.
What is that?
Time to finish this.
Rappy takes off in a flash, leaving a phantom trail of crimson behind her. Chatterbox blocks her
What
path.
the holy mother of...
Bro, what? Chatterbox tries to land a haymaker. Latest, ooh! But Rappy swings her own fist directly into the punch. Oh! Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Chatter arm. Damn, Chatterbox arm shatters into pieces. What the hell?
What is this?
As
Oh,
Rappy
damn.
engages
Kaioken.
now under Red Hood's power, it's clear that there is hope of coming out
Rappy
victorious.
breaks off a sharp tip
Rappy
of an
makes quick work
individual's
of
tail.
Chatterbox, flying him into the air towards
Takes the blade in her
Nihilister.
hand and stabs.
Even with Indivilia's new form
Indivilia in
and
the
faster
stomach.
reflexes, she's no match for Rappy's Red Hood activation.
What the hell?
Rappy hurls Indivilia into the already clustered Chatterbox and Nihilister, and with the roundhouse kick, calls for Dorothy to assist. They'll force them into the elevator and send them up to the surface. As Dorothy reconvenes, she's shocked by Rappy's movements. She finds herself falling behind Rappy, something that catches her
Try and
completely
keep up.
off guard. As Rappy approaches the elevator, she yells for Enoch to open it. As soon as it does, Rappy forces the 3 intruders inside along with herself and Dorothy. Enoch then ejects the elevator, and as the door slams shut, Rappy turns to the commander. She's confident in her allies. One way or another, they will find her. As the doors close, the elevator quickly
Determined.
ascends to the surface. Once the elevator reaches its destination, it will be destroyed and cordoned off, leaving Indivilia, Nihilister, Chatterbox, Rappy, and Dorothy deserted. A Pyrrhic victory by pure definition. A great loss to the counters, but a great victory for the Ark. As things settle in the Ark, Birmingham is still
man, how
suspicious
could
of
this
Dorothy's
happen?
involvement with the Heretic attacks. Despite this, Enoch is quick to denounce these claims. Though Dorothy may have harbored some intent to overthrow the Ark, it was evident that the two parties were not working together. One thing is made clear to Enoch through these events, and that's the fact that the Ark lacks significant physical strength to combat unwanted guests like the Heretics. Due to this, Enoch tells him that she'll be making an elite NIKKE squad of her own design. once meant to be humanity's strongest
Good idea.
and last defense. In Ingrid's office, the commander learns that Anise and Neon are recovering from their injuries. Despite this good news, he also learns that they're unable to track the whereabouts of all those ejected from the elevator. Ingrid surmises that the commander will venture to the surface and find Dorothy and Rappy, which he affirms. The commander also deduces that Rappy's final words to find her were more than just finding her on the surface. Ingrid cannot confirm nor deny these claims, saying that information regarding Rappy and her current situation could topple the Ark on its head. She does state that if they do happen upon it, to give her a call, and then she can provide assistance to them. Having some inclination of where to start, the commander takes this information and sets his sights on the surface. As the commander sets out, we then see Enoch and Suan in her chamber.
Oh, here we
She's
go.
pressed for time, and Suan urges Enoch to get on with her judgment so she can leave. Evidently, the brat still hasn't learned that her actions have just consequences,
Sure
and despite
does.
the beating she took from Uni, she still
needs
did
another
things that
one.
were also reprehensible. Enoch begins to list Suan's wrongdoings, how she intentionally lured Raptors into the Ark for the benefit of Missilus, her inability to care for her own squad, this being exotic, and preventing the attacks on the Ark. Suan personally attempted to destroy exotic squad members in order to cover her tracks as well. Lastly, she neglected her own Nikke's, being Wardress. Based on these facts, just like the commander, this is a unique case.
Throw her in the
After
jail
for a
and
while,
lock the
Enoch
key
comes
and
to
throw
her
it away.
verdict. Suan will be stripped of her CEO title
Good.
and be turned into a Nikke.
Oh,
Not only this, but there's one more
Oh.
thing as well.
that's kind of
She was
extreme,
assigned to
but
a well-known
Oh.
squad. This being the Counters. Too
what?
frank to speak, Suan cannot believe her punishment. To join the
That is
second
extreme.
commander and his Rust Bucket Nikke squad. A fitting
Second
end for
rate,
Suan's
with a
character
third-rate
arc, and
deck.
something I am very excited to see in the future. We end this roller coaster of a chapter on the surface, joined by Chatterbox, Indivilia, and Nihilister. Nihilister is infuriated with the result of the earlier battle. She berates and belittles both Indivilia and Chatterbox for their actions, and both of them being unaware of Rappy's hidden power. We do get a few tidbits of information in this outburst. Firstly, that Chatterbox is a half-breed Rapture, most likely an
what?
amalgamation
Half-breed
of
with-
both Rapture and human components. We
Oh,
also learn that Nihilister
wow.
is
That's
quite
terrible.
cruel to Chatterbox, repeatedly striking him and berating him as a half-breed. Just then, Indivilia asks about Nihilister's dragon heads. They haven't regenerated because they're main components of her. In response to this, and after receiving both verbal and physical harassment from Nihilister,
Oh yeah.
an eerie question is raised to Chatterbox by Indivilia.
Chatterbox,
Yes.
aren't you hungry?
Actually, now that I think about it, I am a little hungry.
What are you two on about?
Whoa.
Don't you dare! Stay back! I said, stay away from me!
Yes, you just saw that scene play out correctly. Indivilia and Chatterbox had begun to devour Nihilister.
Oh man.
With Nihilister seemingly devoured, we transition one last time, ending this chapter off with Rappy. She's staring blankly into space as tendrils of smoke leak out.
Now
from her
listener just
body.
got eaten.
Suddenly, the smoke dissipates and Rappy collapses to the ground,
That's
her
crazy.
body completely spent for using her secret ability. She's motionless at first, then suddenly, her body starts convulsing grotesquely. Once the convulsions stop, it isn't Rappy that stands to her feet, but instead, another entity entirely. One who fought in the first Rapture invasion. A member of the once renowned Goddess Squad. Red Hood.
Red Hood.
And with that, we end the invasion saga in Nikke's story. A true roller
Wow.
coaster of emotions and events.
For
With
real.
Red Hood re-emerging, the commander will have to somehow bring Rappy back. but the only question is, will Red Hood allow him to do so? How did you enjoy this chapter, and what was your favorite part of this roller coaster of a ride? Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below.
Bro.
Merry Christmas, Commanders, and I hope you all have a happy holiday
this is 2 weeks ago.
Thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all in the next video. Gianne.
Yeah, Pyrex. Absolutely amazing. NIKKE Chapter 24. Yeah. Absolutely insane in many ways. Chapter 24. Suan becoming a NIKKE is crazy. I did not expect that at all. At all. But to see that that's the case, that's I'm shocked, because that's like, bro, that's got to be too far. But I guess it's not. The AI has spoken. All hail the AI. But yeah, that was absolutely amazing. Thank you guys for watching the stream, for hanging out. We are ending the video and ending the stream. So I appreciate you all. This was dope. Pyrex, NIKKE community, you guys are awesome. Thanks for coming by, hanging out. We had 167 people show up. I appreciate you. And all the people that left, the donos, you guys are great. Shout out to everybody that came in. Whew, 60, Satellite Sapling, Resto Chesto, Izzy, Hits. I'm tired. And Magnet and Vincent. You guys are awesome. Appreciate you guys. So I will end the video and end the stream. You guys have an amazing night and New Year. Happy New Year. Happy first week of the new year. Hope you guys complete everything you guys are trying to do. And until next time, next stream we might be doing something. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I'm going to be vlogging. I'm going to be documenting. I'm going to be doing a bunch of stuff. So whenever I do get these streams, please come by. Have fun. Just chat, hang out. And I'll be sharing with you guys the human experience. Until next time, it's your boy KhunShawn. Comment, rate, subscribe, join the Discord, hit the like button, and share it with your friends. Peace.